your home for Kings talk and so much more.
Live and vocal.
Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
Yes, we have made it to Wednesday. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports. And it's not just any Wednesday. You know what time it is. DeMar DeRozan, Domantas Sabonis, Keegan Murray, Keon Ellis, Zach LaVine, It is time. The Mavericks, Anthony Davis, Derek Lively, Daniel Gafford. Who do you want to be, Sacramento Kings? Doug Christie's going to look them in the eye and tell them just that. Allen Stiles Show, Sacktown Sports, taking up to 2 p.m., taking you up to 12 in the studio, just so you know. Then we're going to boogie on over to Doko because I want to be in the Sacramento soil. I want to soak up the energy. I want to see the fans. I want to see how everyone feels. And I told you this much, family's not here this week, so I'm not going home. I fed the cats this morning, gave them a little bit of extra. I'm at Doko all day long until I see that beam in the sky. The 9-10 play-in game is upon us. And I know it's not where we all want it to be. We came into this season laughing at national media. Some of us, some of you had the whole thing spot on. I don't know if you guessed all this would happen, but had the whole thing spot on. Allen, we're going to be back in the play-in. I said no. DeMar DeRozan is going to do his thing. De'Aaron Fox going to do his thing. Domantas Sabonis always does his thing. We were able to keep Malik Monk. Keegan Murray takes a leap. Sounds like a 5 seed to me. Well, little did I know, little did we know everything that was going to happen in between signing DeMar DeRozan and now. But we still have postseason basketball. And the play-in's not perfect. We'll talk about that as well. But we still have postseason basketball in Sacramento, which is nothing to sneeze at. I'll tell you this much right now. We can bag on the play-in. We can complain about it. But when that ball tips off at 7 o'clock, you're going to be hype. You have no choice. You have no choice. In your heart of hearts, even you out there that have called in, how do we keep the pick, drop out of it? When that ball tips off tonight, you will be feeling some feelings that you haven't felt very often being a Sacramento Kings fan. A game that matters in the grand scheme of things. No, it's not going to be a parade this season. There won't be a ring ceremony, won't be a banner hung unless you're in Stockton. Shout out to Stockton Kings. But in this moment, you can say that you are relevant. In this moment, you can say that all of the different times where we've complained about how Domantas Sabonis gets overlooked, we complain about how the Kings players get overlooked. This is a night where all eyes are on them. This is a night where Doug Christie can say, we're not going to let it happen. I haven't looked at the betting spread yet. I would assume that the Kings are favored. So go out there and take care of business. Domantas Sabonis, give me a triple-double right in front of everyone. This is the best case scenario for Domantas Sabonis out of the scenarios possible because Anthony Davis is a direct competitor when it comes to the bigs conversation. It's right there. Yes, I know last season the Kings were 4-0 against the Lakers. Guess what? Nobody cares. Those are regular season games. Nobody cares about that. What do you do when it's on the line? Because Anthony Davis is going to be looked at the same way. He's going to be looked at the same way because he made a decision. He didn't have to be here. And I'll say this, kudos to Anthony Davis. He didn't have to be here. Hell, the organization didn't even want him to be here. But he made a decision. I want to show who I am to this Mavs fan base. They've been through enough. I want to give them something to cheer about. And I commend him for that. But I hope that train ends tonight. We will move forward because we have to discuss what happened last night. Great games. Great games. Now they're saying Trae Young might actually be on the Magic next season. I saw that report. Great games. Warriors, Grizzlies, and now we know who is waiting for the winner of tonight. And I called this a month ago. The vision has always been clear. The Grizzlies.
The visions are clear now.
Get the Grizzlies. As soon as they fired Taylor Jenkins, thinking they were going some 7-game winning streak like they're Doug Christie and the Kings, we know that's not them. We have everything we wanted. And I'm not saying, look, the Grizzlies looked good last night. That 5-second call, I know there have been a lot of timers, things like that. The Grizzlies had an opportunity. I never felt like the Kings were going to necessarily be in a good situation after beating the Mavs, whether it was the Warriors, the Clippers, the Timberwolves, the Grizzlies. But this is the best situation you can ask for. It is. It's not easy to play in Memphis, but you're going to have an opportunity. But we are not putting the cart before the horse. Today is about the Mavs. Today is about the Kings. Today is about being at Doco and soaking in postseason basketball. Do these stats count for anything? I don't know. Not really. It's somewhere. We know they're in a book somewhere. We just don't know where to put it. But that doesn't matter because the same thing happened last season. And how much fun did you have beating the Warriors? Doesn't matter what that counted for and your friends, your Warrior friends, fans. I saw a lot of Warrior fans last night. We were out there in the Thomas. We got stories. Brandon Nunez might help me at 12 with the stories. But you can sit there and say, we are at the table too for at least one night. Doesn't mean that we're happy with everything that's going on within the organization, but these are the situations where you can separate that and just enjoy the night. And hopefully the Kings don't let us down because it all comes down to this. The fires, the hires, the trades, the charades, the complaints, the restraints, the joy, the jokes, the fire, the smoke, the hypocrisy, the mediocrity from a 7-game winning streak to one-way flights to San Antonio. It has been a hell of a ride, and hopefully it is not over yet. Because I'll tell you this much. Watching those playing games last night, it was electric. And I don't know how much the play-ins matter. Some people say it's the stop load management. Some people say it causes more load management. But those games, they are fun. Part of it is because of who's in it, right? I'm not going to sit here and say the Hawks and the Magic had the same juice as the Grizzlies, Warriors, but anything can happen. Anything can happen. So we have a playoff playback that's coming up. We have a new version of Chrissy's Cuts from yesterday's practice. We break down the X factor in tonight's game, who has to show up. DeMar DeRozan spoke a little bit after practice as well. We also have a River Cats giveaway. And Kyle, is that the same? Is that same April 19th?
Yes, it is.
So I will be working during that River Cats giveaway. Whoever wins those tickets, be sure you'll catch me in the concourse in between, during innings and things like that. So whoever catches those, be sure to stop by. Like I said, as of right now, we're going to replay Eric Martin's at 11:45 while I am in my car driving to Doco. So if you missed it yesterday, it was great stuff. And by the way, the A's, right after we had that conversation about them being in a slump, they go out there and beat the terrible White Sox just as they were supposed to do. How confident are you in Doug Christie going into tonight's game? There are two sides of this. There's the pump-up perspective, and there's the X's and O's perspective. So we will break all that down. And then, of course, at 1 o'clock, we get into our Mavericks preview. When you go to Doco, you never know who's going to show up. So I know Brandon Nunez might be there, but I might have some other surprise guests for you as well. Phone lines are going to be open. The hype train is about to leave the station. And we want to know whether you're on it or not. So 916-339-1140. Look, the reality is it could be the last game of the season. We really hope it isn't. So call in your thoughts on how everything ended up. Text in. You know what it is. Allen Stiles Show, 4 hours with you. Kyle Ledbetter behind the glass. Sacktown Sports.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sacktown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sacktown Sports app.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation and a regular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and, in rare cases, fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Allen Stiles. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sacktown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sacktown Sports app.
Taking you up to 2 p.m., handing you off to the Drive guys. I know they have a great show planned for you as well. Game night, Scott Marsh and the High Flyer. We're all going to be at Doco, and it all starts at 12. I'm here now. Got to hop in my car. By the way, thanks to the good people at Sacramento Dodge Chrysler Jeep, my screen was completely jacked up in my car. It looked like a strobe light. It looked like I was in Project X. It was not safe, and they hooked it up for me. So really, really appreciate that. And, you know, when you got to do some adulting stuff, the easier people can make it for you, the better. So shout out Sacramento Dodge Chrysler Jeep. And we are getting into the play in a little bit here, because I said this yesterday, and, a couple people responded back to me based on what has happened. So basically I said, I don't have a problem with the play-in, but I do question the point. 9 seeds have snuck in 3 times and haven't done anything. There's no facade of hope for the fan base. And if anything, it gives organizations an excuse to continue in mediocrity because they were, quote unquote, close. And watching the games, I did enjoy. I mean, the other part of that play-in thing is this. Steph and LeBron, they've both been in the play-in a good bit here. So you fast forward to when they're out of it, the juice of the play-in, I don't know if it'll be the same, right? Because Grizzlies, Warriors, and again, it's always going to be that 7-8 game most of the time because those teams are better than the 9-10 teams. So it begged the question for me, if a 9-10 team, and I don't know, maybe you could even bounce it up, and just the 10 seed to me, that's where it's a little ridiculous. That's kind of where it gets to a situation where, okay, the other teams must be tanking or something went terribly wrong, or their name is the Phoenix Suns. Because I think, and it's funny to, the Kings are a 9 seed. So if you're going to say, Allen, if the 9 seed doesn't deserve to be there, why does the 10 seed? But I do feel like if you're a double-digit seed in your conference and you get a quote-unquote opportunity, and 10 seeds have never done anything, what actually is the point? I had people respond saying it's a stop load management. I had people respond saying that it's causing more load management because you're safe. Obviously, you don't want to be in the play-in. And the argument that it's stopping load management is because, hey, we're sitting in the 8 seed. We can just coast. But to me, the 9-10 situations, even with the Kings being in it, yeah, a 9 could go on. An 8 seed has never gone that far, right? And we know the Jimmy Butler, if you remove the Jimmy Butler heat, an 8 seed doesn't really do too much in the playoffs. So adding a 9-10, cool. A 9 might beat an 8 because the 8 isn't very good, right? And then from there, neither of those teams are doing anything against the 1 seed. This isn't more. Somebody responded and said, That's the same thing as a 16 seed has never beat a 1 seed in March Madness. And then it happened a couple years ago, so it can't happen. Awesome. Number one, the percentage on that is still extremely low. So are we just doing the play-in for that one time that happens every 30 years? Number two, we're talking about a situation, and that goes to it was more so about whoever comes out that 8 seed challenging the 1 seed. And number two, this isn't March Madness. This isn't a 1-game playoff once you get to the actual playoffs. You got to beat that team 4 times. If you're telling me, and I don't know about the Kings and the Thunder, but if you're telling me, it's a tournament, right? And the 9-8 seed, the 9 or the 8, whoever wins, they get 1 game. It's all 1 game. Then yeah, one of these years, a 1 seed will lose to an 8 seed. So I don't know if it's money. I can't imagine that the Magic Hawks game did really well viewing wise. The Grizzlies Warriors game, sure, but the play-in, if you were to subtract, if Adam Silver subtracted games that didn't have LeBron or Steph, I'm sure they would look awful. I'm sure those Eastern Conference play-in games, nobody is watching that.
Where it's the Bulls, the Hornets.
Nobody's watching that.
I think the Bulls, Hornets, Hawks, and Heat have been in every play-in.
So I don't have a problem with the play-in. I'm just not really sure what the point of the play-in is.
Okay, let me give you a good reason, because I can't remember if it was Kendrick Perkins or somebody on one of those ESPN shows said the play-in is Adam Silver's best invention of the last 10 years. And I kind of tend to agree with him, because looking at it from a Sacramento Kings standpoint, the Kings would have been, we feel like the season's been building up to this point for like 17 games or something. They would have been mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, like 0% chance to make it on April 2nd, if not for the play-in. Like, just any chance of making the playoffs would have been over on April 2nd, and we could have given up on the season in the middle of March.
And kept your pick.
And no, not keep your pick, because if you'd been the 9 seed and there was no play-in, they would have had either the 14 or the 13 pick, so they still wouldn't have gotten the pick. They would have had to really tank to keep the pick. I don't think they could have tanked worse than the Suns.
But my argument is, and look, like I said, I'm excited for tonight. When the game actually comes, we're all excited. I'm just looking at the play-in as a whole. When you say they would have been mathematically out of it since April, that tells me that this team is not very good.
Right, but you still have the hope, right? And so,
but do you though? Do you actually? That's what I said in my post. The facade of hope. Does any Kings fan out there now? If they win tonight and they win Friday, we'll do the thing. Don't get me wrong, but there actually is no thing.
I think there are discernible Kings fans who recognize, yes, I don't care about 1 game versus the Dallas Mavericks to decide who has been the most tire fire organization this season.
Right.
There are discernible fans that acknowledge that. But there are some people who are like, and a lot of people who we've talked to who say, I just want a playoff series. Right. I want to get to OKC.
That's true.
I want to have the hope of maybe we get to the playoffs and host a playoff game.
You know what the problem is? The problem is the play-in represents different things, and we've talked about this. The play-in represents different things for different teams. There are a lot of people that don't love the way that ownership runs the organization, and my last note when I said they can kind of masquerade as if they had a chance, that's more so what I'm talking about. If you were to straight up not make the playoffs or nothing, so you don't even get play-in revenue, you're just cooked, and you've been cooked since April, maybe that would show more to ownership, because I can guarantee you this, and I feel you, because I don't know if attendance, we went to a lot of games, not packed every night, probably even worse if they are mathematically out of it since April. So I'm saying, could that have actually helped in the long run versus now, hey, we're in the play-in. Hey, we almost beat the Grizzlies. Hey, we took 1 game from the Thunder, when in reality, you're not actually competing for anything. So I'm kind of representing both sides here, because I am excited for the game tonight. Don't get me wrong. Every Kings fan should be excited for the game tonight. But there is a level of you feel like you're getting hoodwinked and bamboozled every season because you're a fan and you're going to be excited. But how much longer do we have to just be in the play-in?
Well, so that's the organizational direction thing. And we talked about it last week. Like, there's different types of play-in teams. There's the young guys on the rise. There's the teams on the way out. Like, the Spurs played in the play-in the first 2 years in the 9-10 game, and they were on their way to tanking. And then there's the teams where it's like the Warriors last night. We probably shouldn't have been here.
No.
But we'll take care of business.
And again, every 7 seed has gotten out of it.
Which I think is more to a point of the best teams will sort themselves out, right? In a 1-game 4-year season situation, the best teams will sort each other out. It's essentially like creating multiple game 7s, which we'll hear DeMar DeRozan basically say the exact same thing later in the show. You can create those opportunities, and I think the bottom line is, like, there are layers to this. The difference between the 7 and the 10 in a conference is often pretty pronounced.
Agreed.
I mean, in the Western Conference, if I'm remembering it right, I think that's a 7-game difference between the 7 seed and the 10 seed. So I just think to that point, it will sort itself out. If a 7 seed's a fraud and a 10 seed had some bad injury luck like the Mavericks have had, those things will sort themselves out through the play-in because they're all win-or-go-home situations.
Yeah, the play-in, it is fascinating. I will say that. And like I said, I'm definitely excited because without the play-in, I wouldn't be at Doko today with my feet in the soil, soaking up the beam energy.
I'm trying to remember what the first game was that we said, okay, every game from this point forward is about the play-in. Was it?
That felt like I wasn't even 35 yet. That felt like March sometime.
Was that after they lost to the Suns?
Yeah.
Maybe after they lost to the Suns, it was like, all right, we're ready for the play-in. That was 31 days ago.
It's a long time, man.
So this entire month has been building up to this game.
The path is clear. You beat the Mavs. We still haven't seen the spread yet from Vegas, but you beat the Mavs. You beat the Grizzlies in their house, and throw your name in the hat and see what happens out in Oklahoma City. Playoff playback. Let's run it. Let's spin the block on young Kyle Ledbetter as he wanted the Warriors. We can be honest here. This is an honest platform. This is an honest forum. You still feel like that, people? Everybody, a sack chat, the text line, you still feel like that? Playoff playback. What happened last night? We break it all down. Coming up next, more Kings Talk. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sacktown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sacktown Sports app.
Allen Stiles here with your Sacktown Sports injury update, brought to you by Downtown LA Law Group. For the A's, pitcher Michel Otanez has resumed throwing from a distance up to 90 feet and could return sometime in mid-April. Brady Basso, out with that left shoulder strain, has been transferred from the 15-day injured list to the 60-day injured list. On the court, Malik Monk has been diagnosed with a left calf strain and will be reevaluated in 14 days, which means he'll miss the rest of the season and the play-in. This injury report was brought to you by Downtown LA Law Group.
Hi, I'm Allen Stiles. Injured at work? Call Downtown. Downtown LA Law Group, California's leading injury law firm. With over 40 lawyers throughout California, they've won over $500 million in settlements. Downtown LA Law Group will get you compensation for your work injury. You don't pay unless they win. That's right. You pay zero up front. Call Downtown. Text injury help to 40222. That's injury help to 40222. Visit them at calldowntown.com.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
ZipRecruiter is the place. ZipRecruiter is the place for talented teachers, savvy software developers, and master mixologists. ZipRecruiter is the place where you meet all these people and more. That's because ZipRecruiter is the place for job seekers who are looking for new opportunities. In fact, ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day, so you can find the right candidates right away. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Save $12,750 off MSRP. Every new 2025 Silverado 1500 LT and RST 5.3 in stock at the Maida Chevy Silverado Supercenter. After all rebates. And Maida Chevy still has one of the largest selections in the Sacramento area. $12,750 off new Silverado exclusively at the Maida Chevy Silverado Supercenter. Now that's big, huge. See them all at MaidaChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
Sacramento's premier country music festival, Country in the Park, is coming back May 16th and 17th at Cal Expo with Bailey Zimmerman, Billy Currington, Cole Wetzel, Nate Smith, and more. You'll enjoy food trucks, rock walls, and a mechanical bull, line dancing, and more. Single-day GA tickets start at $52 at CITPFest.com. Country in the Park, May 16th and 17th with Michelob Ultra and Carl's Jr. Find out more at CITPFest.com.
Finally, an easy way to find home improvement contractors. Just visit subcontractorsunited.com and simplify your search for home services professionals. From cabinets to windows, roofing to plumbing, Subcontractors United is an easy, simple way to find and hire a home improvement contractor. And you never have to give up personal information. So no harassing phone calls like you get from those other websites. Subcontractorsunited.com is sponsored by D&D Cabinets and Savage Design.
It's the final days of the spring sales event. Drive home your new Honda before the deals and the new Hondas disappear. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Looking to own or lease? During the spring sales event, drive a brand new Accord or Civic. Visit us today at FolsomLakeHonda.com, your one-stop Honda shop.
As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our number one priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Your home for Kings talk and so much more.
Live and local.
Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
Turn his TV off. Turn his TV off. The TV will be turned on. The radio better be turned on because we are the home of your Sacramento Kings.
Yeah, if you don't want to hear Dave Pash and I think Legler's doing the broadcast.
There you go. G-Man.
G-Man and Jason and Henry.
Has anybody successfully, because people always talk about doing this, and my previous job, it was in audio, but I was just on the app tech side. So you would, all you would do, you would play different games on your app, right? College football, NBA, Major League Baseball, and NFL, everything, right? So we would get requests all the time that, hey, the audio is behind the TV. And we would say, well, that's not really our job to match it up with the TV. You're trying to finesse something, which is fine. But that we would be, our support team would say, hey, we got this. It's behind TV. Okay, we're an audio app.
Yeah.
You know, what do you want from us? But I am curious if anybody successfully has timed it up. I know it's not that difficult, but are you playing it on your phone, right? You got that going on the Sacktown Sports app, and then you're watching it on TV. Does anybody do that every game? I mean, do you successfully do that?
There are apps you can use. I think it's like Sync My Game or something that will do that for you. Although it's weird because, yeah, if you're doing it on the Sacktown Sports app, there's like a minute delay, obviously.
Of course.
But
you gotta pause the that's what I'm saying. You got to pause the TV.
Which, honestly, as long as you're not on social media or like your friends aren't going to be, just turn off notifications on your phone.
Right.
And then do that.
And you're not that far behind. So a lot of options tonight as your Sacramento Kings take on the Dallas Mavericks. And the winner will get the Memphis Grizzlies. As it was a great game last night, Kyle. I thought that the Warriors were going to run away with it, and the Grizzlies just kind of hung around. They had some opportunities, some really bad decisions from Ja. Turned his ankle, right? So he wasn't fully there.
You are the more you talk about Ja Morant, the more I'm like, yep, you never know when he's going to be healthy.
You honestly don't. I'm waiting for. I'm not paying attention yet because the Kings have to take care of business, but you truly don't, man. And last night was just kind of a bad luck, but he stayed in the game. there were some questionable decisions by the Grizzlies, some bad shots that went in for them. Desmond Bane he can shoot the basketball, don't get me wrong, but Desmond Bane, just some crazy three-pointers. Jaren Jackson Jr., his threes always look crazy. Then they just gave the ball away towards the end when they had an opportunity to win. So we really don't know that much about the Grizzlies, but I will say this. That whole conversation y'all were trying to bring me in on playing the Warriors, can we admit that would have been a bad decision?
No.
Yes.
No.
That place was rocking. Steph Curry, come on, nobody wants that. Now, granted, if they had lost, do they play with the same swagger in the next game? But I guess we'll never know, and I am not upset about it.
I mean, I know you used to, like, cover the Warriors or something, but, like, was it really that crazy? Come on.
What that crazy?
The atmosphere there, was it? I saw.
It sounded loud in there. It's not Oracle. Oracle's done. Nothing is Oracle.
I saw a video of a lady eating pasta behind Tuomas Isalo. Like, was it really popping like that in there?
You could get some spaghetti and make it pop, too.
Where are you getting spaghetti at the same? Anyways, my point. Yes, I would have still liked to play the Warriors. As I mentioned yesterday, I was out and about last night, so I came back at the start of the fourth quarter, and I think it was a 3-point game at that point, and Memphis took the lead for a minute. But pretty much the whole way, even though I wanted Memphis to win, the whole way I was just like, this team is not better than Golden State. And I just felt like the Warriors. I mean, they had Scottie Pippen Jr. guarding Curry.
Right.
I mean, they got Draymond in foul trouble, which was good, but the whole way I was just like, they can't beat this team.
No.
Like, the Warriors are going to pull it out.
I mean, I'll say this, watching the Grizzlies play, they definitely don't look, it was honestly very Kings-esque, right? A strong effort. They had an opportunity, couldn't get stops when they needed to get stops, got themselves in a hole, made a run, and ultimately it wasn't enough. So it was a very Kings-esque game from the Grizzlies. It made me feel maybe a little bit more uncomfortable about the Kings if they win tonight heading to Memphis, but that's just what it is. That's exactly what we've been talking about. The difference between the 7 and the 8 and the 9 and the 10. Obviously, a 9 and an 8, you never know what could happen, but as much as the Grizzlies have been maligned and they fired their coach, they're not bums. Let's start there. I think you see the losing streak. You see them fire their coach. And obviously, we're not watching every Grizzlies game. Watching them last night, and when the Kings have beat the Grizzlies, it's still been close matches, right? So to me, it left me feeling, I wouldn't say less confident, but respecting the Grizzlies more, thinking, hey, this team's going to be dragging. Whoever loses is not going to have momentum. Watching them, they're going to be hype on Friday. They're going to be, and to your point, the Warriors were expected to win. So the Grizzlies could have snuck out and win. It's not as if the Warriors had lost in a game at home where they were, the 7.5-point favorites. That's a different situation than the Grizzlies were there, weren't supposed to win anyway. Fine, let's go home and take care of business.
Yeah, and part of what made the Grizzlies so scary at the start of the season was the two-way ability, right? We talked about it when we saw them in January. It was like they were one of the deepest benches in the NBA. They were top 7 in offensive rating and defensive rating. And watching them last night, I was just like, they gave up 38 points to Jimmy. They gave up 6 threes to Steph.
Yeah.
And then on the offensive side of the ball, I couldn't believe what I was watching. They were running the offense through Scottie Pippen Jr., and Ja Morant was basically a decoy. Now, I didn't watch the first 3 quarters, so I don't know what was going on. And obviously he got hurt. But I was just stunned that Ja was on the floor and just never touched the ball down the stretch. And I was just like, this is not the same Grizzlies team that we were watching at the start of the season.
No, like I said, I was watching the game with the round table, Brendan, Chris, and Frankie, and I kept joking with them saying, is Ja playing? Where is Ja? Is Ja playing? So they're still trying. Like I said, this was the best situation. I respect the heck out of how they competed. And the Kings, I believe if the Kings win tonight, the Grizzlies will be favored at home, not by much, but a solid game by the Kings, I think, gets you into the playoffs. I really do.
Well, okay, I don't want to do the preview before the preview, but, I mean, Desmond Bane scored 44 against the Kings earlier this year. I still don't think they have anyone who can defend Desmond Bane. And the thing that works in their favor is that Jaren Jackson Jr. is playing the 4, so, like, if he's guarding Keegan and Edey's guarding Sabonis, like, what does that do for you if you're Memphis? That's not using him to your strengths.
I mean, Edey, he was getting fried last night because he looked like he had a bucket of popcorn before the game, just could not hold on to the basketball. But he still was very productive last night.
Yeah, I mean, he had put-back dunks at the end. He got 2 free throws to keep him in the game late. Like, weirdly, Edey was touching the ball and getting more involved than Ja Morant.
Than Ja Morant.
Which was crazy.
Hey, y'all want that in Sacramento. Come on, give me a break.
I still really want him.
Give me a break.
Still really want Ja Morant this summer.
Yeah, the other part of what I saw last night is obviously the Warriors were in a great situation, but I do want to respect the resiliency of the Grizzlies. They could have laid down. They could have laid down, let Steph shimmy on them, and just say, you know what, we're going to pack this up. But they didn't. And they have an opportunity now to get into the playoffs. Obviously, nobody would have the Grizzlies or the Mavericks or the Kings picked over the Thunder, but they have that star power. They're kind of learning to play together as the season goes. We just happen to be in the postseason now. So it was a great game. We now know who is waiting for the Kings. They have a day to kind of lick their wounds, get home, feel better about it. They're going to get to watch the Kings tonight. They're going to get to do whatever they do tomorrow, and then it all pops off on Friday. And we hope that is against the Kings, but we will have to see about that. And it's all based on tonight. When we return, some Christie's cuts from yesterday's practice and how they can harness that sense of urgency. Allen Stiles, Sactown Sports.
Lowe's is the destination for Ego outdoor power equipment this spring. See what's new and exclusive, like the 17-inch string trimmer with Line IQ technology that auto-feeds to save you time, and the 22-inch Select Cut self-propelled mowers with a multi-blade system for precise cutting. Shop Ego Days, happening now during Spring Fest at Lowe's. We help, you save. Selection varies by location while supplies last.
You know what's better than a limited time deal? An unlimited time deal. That's why the Wendy's $5 biggie bag with a junior bacon cheeseburger, 4-piece nugs, junior hot and crispy fries, and small soft drink is available all the time. Because the best time for fresh, never frozen beef and Applewood smoked bacon is all the time. Duh. I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot. For the best deal of all time, gotta be Wendy's.
Unlimited time does not mean forever. U.S. price of participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, and California via third-party delivery. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada.
Hey, everybody, it's your boy Kyle Draper. You know I'm a big guy, right, everybody? So sometimes, even my SUV or sedan, I want a little more space. Maybe I want to take the fellas to the football game or to the basketball game. Maybe I want to go golfing. Well, Mercedes-Benz of Stockton has the perfect solution. They have a Vans Fleet Center, and they understand your business needs. They understand your personal needs as well. They have a great inventory and a huge selection, and plus they have the perfect van to power your fleet, including the new fully electric e-Sprinter alongside those reliable diesel options. So if you're looking for a new van just for personal reasons or even for your business fleet, head on over to Mercedes-Benz of Stockton. And get this, you can take advantage of their exclusive limited time 0% APR financing offer for up to 60 months on select models. So head down to Mercedes-Benz of Stockton or online at mbfstockton.com and tell them Drape sent you.
I can't believe how spotless my floors look after using the Swiffer Power Mop. No more dragging around a heavy mop and messy bucket. Now I get the same deep clean without all the work. Thanks to the powerful solution and scrubbing pad of the Swiffer Power Mop, dirt and grime don't stand a chance, and I don't break a sweat. Mic drop. Mop drop.
Swiffer Power Mop. Swiffer Power Mop.
A smarter way to mop. Try it or your money back.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
With 25 award-winning years in Northern California, Ashton & Price is your local injury law firm. Pro attorney tip: if a firm presents as local but they're in LA, red flag. If your first consultation is not with a lawyer, big red flag. At Ashton & Price, your first consult is with a local attorney, and if serious injury prevents travel, a lawyer will come to you. Still not enough? George Washington's my uncle. At Ashton & Price, no red flags, just red, white, and blue.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton & Price.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. 800-902-5454. 800-902-5454.
Welcome to Staples.
Hi, I hear Staples prints it all.
Oh, you bet. Posters, banners.
Can you print it all for Mother's Day?
Oh, of course. Photo gifts like canvas prints, photo puzzles.
Can you print it all for graduation?
Sure can. Custom cards and invites.
Can you print a huge banner with the grad's picture?
Oh, definitely.
Even an embarrassing baby picture?
Oh, those are the best kind.
I know, right?
Print it all for moms and grads at Staples. And right now, get 40% off custom cards, invites, and photo gifts. N75 exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
Your home for Kings talk and so much more.
Live and local.
Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
Time to get into Christie's cuts. Practice yesterday, and based on what I've seen, I do feel like there is a quiet confidence about this team right now. It's not an away game, but it's a business trip for the Sacramento Kings. In their mind, it's time to take care of business. It's time to do what you are supposed to do. Do what everybody thinks that you can do. And then you go on a real business trip to Memphis and take care of business. Well, a couple that will not be participating in the events tonight. The Sacramento Kings have ruled out Malik Monk and Jake LaRavia for today's playing game against the Mavericks. It should have been, Jake. It should have been. Man, and I can't get over, for lack of a better term, the bad luck that the Kings have had, and more specifically Malik Monk. Because what are the chances? Talk about roulette and your number hitting, which is always fun when it goes back to back. But not in this case, where the chances of a player being injured around the same time 2 seasons in a row to miss the postseason have to be fairly low. I mean, for a guy that has not really been viewed as a injury-prone guy, right? Ben Simmons, I'm sure he's missed the same time frame. Joel Embiid, I'm sure he's missed the same time frame. Guys like that, Zion, who missed the play-in last season, but Malik Monk has never really been in this situation, partly because he was still in the process of building up his name. He wasn't playing this much. So, I don't really know what to make of it, other than I just feel bad for Malik. I feel bad for the rest of the roster, because this was a real opportunity. When you move on from De'Aaron Fox, we all were talking about Malik Monk and taking the keys and what can he do. And the whole situation has just been a tough one, from the time that he got to play, who was missing while he was playing, and then he goes down when the Kings get somebody back. And as it pertains to Jake LaRavia, that was a home run. That guy showed up, brought his lunch pail to work every single game. And we liked what we were seeing from him defensively. Then all of a sudden, one game shows up, and we know he could shoot the 3 ball from what he did in Memphis. Then he starts making the 3 ball. We're saying, man, Keegan's getting a rest. This guy's also guarding point guards. He can guard 3s and 4s. This is great. We can release these lineups of Keegan, Jake, Devin Carter, Jake, Keon Ellis, and you don't even get to enjoy that when it matters the most. So just a real tough situation for the Sacramento Kings, and I don't know how this keeps happening. I understand that every team is a bit injured. They're about to play the Dallas Mavericks, who didn't have a guy over 6. They had Kessler Edwards playing center for a month. Kyrie Irving goes down as they make the craziest trade that we've seen in the history of the NBA, and now they have no point guard. And now they're missing their all-star point guard who's playing at an all-star level, and Kyrie Irving, a champion. So I get it, but that's why they're the 10 seed. The 9 seed and the Kings, to me, it's just been little naggy things where it's not the same as, this is a different level. The Mavs, they're on the same level damn near as the 76ers to me. It just happened a little bit later in the season. But this is not the 76ers. You know who else could maybe feel the same way? I know they had a parade and they won a championship. I would say the Bucks, right? You really think that this move to help Giannis and who's going to stop this pick and roll? They go out, they get Dame, who has had playoff success but never got to the promised land, one of the biggest brands that we've seen coming out of Oakland. And last season, no Giannis. Dame eventually gets hurt as well. This season, to at least start the playoffs, no Dame. That's one that points out in my mind to say their whole season wasn't cooked, but they've had some really bad luck when it mattered the most.
You could honestly say that for the entire second era of the Bucks, because I know this is going to be crazy. It has been over 1,000 days since Giannis Antetokounmpo won a playoff game. Like, he was on the floor, and the Bucks won a playoff game. 3 playoff runs, or 3 seasons, have been derailed by injury now for the Bucks, and it's only going to continue because we know Damian Lillard's going to be out for the start of the playoffs this year.
Yeah, so that's one team that I would put in the same category. A couple other teams, you know, you either aren't there, or maybe you're missing a guy here or there. But for the Kings to say, okay, we're going to move De'Aaron Fox, Zach LaVine is our new star shooting guard, and Malik, let's get you at point guard. First, it doesn't work out. Then he gets injured. Okay, we've always needed this another wing. We were able to get Jake LaRavia, and it's a rental because of the constraints that the Kings have to keep Jake LaRavia very low possibility that Jake LaRavia stays, so it's more of a rental, and now he's not here for the play.
I don't know. I think we're making too much of the low chance of them keeping Jake LaRavia.
And we'll discuss that in the summer, because maybe this injury actually keeps him based on the market. We'll discuss that. But would I have traded? That's a great question. Would you have traded having Jake LaRavia tonight for, I guess, the possibility of keeping him? I think a lot of people would like it the way it is, because a lot of people, as much as we're excited for the game tonight, they care more about the future. And if you get to keep Jake LaRavia for a longer period of time, that'd be great. Doesn't mean that it is going to happen. All right, Kyle, it's time for Christie's Cuts.
A lot, man. He's a monster. Like, he doesn't have to worry about battling with the big guys. Probably not in as many pick and roll coverages. Rim protection is probably a bit different. He's just a problem, period. But when you start to take him and put him on smaller players, his advantage continues to escalate. You know, I don't really worry about that. The ones that I have to ramp up are the ones that I'm worried about. This one, like, first things first, like, once we get in the game, we can try to calm down. But I think that there is a certain level of a sense of urgency, physicality, and aggressiveness that is an absolute must. So once you get in there, you kind of see who's who, and you kind of get a vibe for who's calm in the moment, who's excited in the moment. Sometimes you miss the moment and you can't calm yourself down. And other times you find that sweet spot, or you depend on one of your teammates who is like that, and you ride on their energy a little bit. embrace the moment and enjoy it. Like, because if you don't, all the other things that go against you, it's the ability to get stiff and tight and all these things that we're not about. So I want them to have fun, be serious about what we're doing, pay attention to detail, all those different things, but at the same time, come out here and have fun, put on the show. Well, I don't think, a few players have been here, but Sacramento postseason basketball is a different animal. It's a lot of places get credit for a lot of things that started right here in Sacramento, in my opinion. I had never experienced anything quite like it. I've been to finals games. I've watched them on TV, and nothing was like that. So I'm hoping that they come out. I wouldn't expect anything less and turn the hell up. So it should be a really, really fun environment.
Talking about the Kings and postseason basketball in Sacramento, there's nothing like it. I know the fans are going to show up. The Kings, it's their job to you don't need much to get this fan base going, to get that arena jumping. You don't need much. You just got to show up early, because that's the number one goal of an away team. And the Grizzlies weren't able to do it last night, and they lost. Even though they made a game out of it, they lost. But the number one goal of an away team is to, number one, stay connected by about 10 points throughout the game. But number two, and they would rather do this, is to punch the other team in the mouth and take the home court out of it immediately. You come out and you get a team playing from behind. That's what the Mavs want to do. Do they have the horses to do that? I'm not sure, but that's what they want to do. Doug Christie talking about how some guys, you got to enjoy it, have fun. Sounded like they were having fun in the background. And if you don't, you end up being stiff. He also mentioned kind of reading the team and seeing who's ready for the moment. So I do wonder, in these one-game settings, if a Dougie McBuckets gets in there and he's hot, he could walk away playing 15, 20 minutes. And I'm dead serious. You never know what's going to happen in these games, especially with Jake LaRavia out. So these are the games, and we'll talk about who has the most to gain from today's game and possibly Friday's game and getting to the playoffs. These are the games where you can really make your money. And these are the games where you have to make decisions that maybe you wouldn't typically make in a series. How many times in a series do we see a certain rotation and a team will feel out the other team, especially if you're on the road? Hey, let's see what they got going on here. Okay, we're down 1-0. We're on the road. We're just trying to steal one, whatever the case may be. But a one-game playoff, you got to rock and roll. If Keegan Murray is not shooting the basketball well, and Trey Lyles is, whatever it is, you got to rock and roll. If DeMar DeRozan might be the one guy, DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine, they kind of don't count because you essentially have to play them. But everybody else, we could see some random people play tonight. I kind of hope that we don't, because that means that the usual rotation is taking care of business. But in these one-game playoff play-in situations, anything can happen. It could be a Trey Lyles day. It could be a Doug McDermott day. Keon Ellis is going to get his run regardless, but a Keon Ellis day. So these are the things that are exciting about the plan, and these are the situations where Doug is going to have to tap in to the pulse of the team and understand who's ready to go to work and who – Jared Allen, the lights were too bright. The lights were brighter than I expected. So we're going to know that pretty darn early here. The good thing, like we said, these guys have plenty of experience in the play-in. It is not a new situation. And they've been playing together consistently the longest. From the coaching staff to the players, I know that they've been injured, but the Grizzlies losing their coach not too long ago, the Warriors are out of it now. The Mavs have been dealing with a ton. They really haven't had their bigs all back for that long. Everything that they're dealing with, they're having post-game press conferences or postseason press conferences as if the season's already over. So just put them out of their misery and do it tonight. Kings, Mavs, who you got? And how bad of a look could it be if the Kings don't win? Or does it not matter? 11 o'clock, Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
You never know what you might hear when listening to a Sacramento Kings game.
Out of Keegan, going for another triple. Man, is he feeling it. Keegan, can he do it? Yes, there's number 11, Keegan Murray. Keegan steps back, He just knocked down his 12th three-pointer, a Kings franchise record. He's got 45 points.
Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with Sacktown Sports and the Sacktown Sports app.
I'm Ken Korak with your Green and Gold Report, brought to you by Comcast Business, powering possibilities. With a little historical perspective on Jacob Wilson's 15-game hitting streak to begin the season, which ended on the 13th against the Mets. In the expansion era, the only longer streak by an Athletic to start a season, San Javier hit in 17 straight in 1994. The Athletics record, Hank Majeski, 19 straight in 49.
Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business with reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, advanced fiber solution, and Wi-Fi backup. Comcast Business helps turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business. For details on special offers, including free professional installation and up to a $500 Visa prepaid card on qualifying internet bundles, log on to business.comcast.com. Comcast Business, powering possibility.
Spring is here, and that means gigantic savings for all your oil change needs at Jiffy Lube today. Get a $25 gift card with the purchase of any Pennzoil Platinum full synthetic oil change through May 31st at your local Jiffy Lube service center in the greater Sacramento areas. And don't forget about the additional $30 off online coupon at jiffylube.com. Terms apply. Valid email address required. See pennzoil.com/rewards for details. Jiffy Lube, a huge spring savings for you today.
If you've been looking for an SUV that combines luxury, comfort, and off-road capability, look no further than the most awarded SUV ever, the Jeep Grand Cherokee at Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. With 470 foot-pounds of torque, a 6,000-pound towing capacity, great gas mileage, the 2025 Jeep Grand Cherokee at Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is the perfect SUV for all your needs. See for yourself why people are coming from all over to Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Centrally located across from Hagan Oaks Golf Course, it's the place where a handshake still means something.
Skeeter here, Field Tech, Sacramento Yellow Mosquito and Vector Control District. Hey, it's my favorite week of the year, Mosquito Awareness Week. Yep, the spring and warm weather means the little suckers are starting to breed and bite. Gotcha. So it's time to fight the bite. Once a week, drain standing water from flower pots, bird baths, dog dishes, and at dawn and dusk, start using insect repellent outside and wear long clothes, because these skeeters are up for blood.
The Sacramento Yolo Mosquito and Vector Control District reminds you it's time to fight the bite. For more information, go to fightthebite.net.
Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagan Oaks Golf Super Shop. Here's Frank LaRosa.
The word for has been used in golf for centuries, and its origins can be traced to the Middle Ages. According to historians, the word for is derived from the Old English word meaning before or in front of. In those days, the term was used to warn people of incoming arrows during archery practice. Another theory suggests that for has military connections. During the 19th century, artillery officers would yell for to warn their troops of incoming shells. This practice may have carried over to golf. The most popular theory, however, is that for has Scottish roots. In Scotland, forecaddy was used to describe a person who walked ahead of the golfers to spot where their ball landed. The forecaddy would then yell for to warn the golfers if their ball was heading towards another golfer or a spectator. Today, for is used to warn golfers or spectators of an errant shot. Whether it's derived from the Middle Ages, military practice, or Scottish roots, for has become an integral part of the game of golf, and now you know why. That's your Golf to Go. I'm Frank LaRosa.
It's the final days of the spring sales event. Drive home your new Honda before the deals and the new Hondas disappear. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Looking to own or lease? During the spring sales event, drive a brand new Accord or Civic. Visit us today at FolsomLakeHonda.com, your one-stop Honda shop.
As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our number one priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Come check out Capital Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room with the most variety of table games in the region in a safe and friendly environment. Plenty of well-lit parking available, conveniently located in downtown Sacramento. And remember, Capital Casino has the best food, the best service, and the best action. 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento. For more information, log on to capital-casino.com, and please gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
At Big O Tires, now through April 27th, get $50 to $100 instant savings on 4 select in-stock Cooper, Bridgestone, Firestone, Pirelli, or Hankook brand tires with installation purchase. Disposal fees extra, not good with other offers. See your locally owned Big O Tire store for pricing.
Sacramento Kings basketball.
Through the hoop, two-hand throwdown by Keegan Murray.
The run to the playoffs.
Over-the-shoulder pass is a super room service setup for Domantas Sabonis.
On Sacktown Sports 1140.
He's working hard to free up. Now he retreats to the logo, then kind of rebalances the floor. They swing it to Keegan, going for another one.
He hits it from the line drive on the right wing. That's the 8th three-pointer that Keegan Murray has made in 13 attempts. He has 32 points. And for Keegan Murray, what a night. It's the 4th time in his second season that he has scored 30 or more.
Your home for Kings talk and so much more.
Live and local.
Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
Everyone hates the play-in until it's time to play in. And you have an opportunity tonight. Your Sacramento Kings do. Kyle, we are headed to Doco in about an hour here. I will be in my car driving safely, of course, and flipping on over to get in on the action. Everyone will be excited. Everybody will be hype. The Mavs fans, I'm sure a couple will show up, but we're leading you up to the drive guys who will lead you up to game night. And then it's game time. And that is what we are excited for. All right, Kyle, I have the spread. Did you see it as well?
I have not. I have not a single clue what the point spread is for tonight.
It's on you. What is the spread tonight?
If I had to guess, I would say the Sacramento Kings are, I'll go 4.5 point favorites tonight against the Dallas Mavericks.
Very close, good sir. They are 5 point favorites tonight against the Dallas Mavericks.
I'll take that.
That feels, yeah, we round up. That feels fair. That feels fair to both sides. I don't think a Mavs fan would say that the Mavs are being disrespected. I don't think the Kings or a Kings fan would say that they're being disrespected or there's a jinx out there if they were favored by 7 or more. I don't think I would like that at all. They're at home. Golden One is rocking and rolling, and they are 1 game away. The Kings are, of course, from keeping their season alive, but also from ending 500 at home. So right now they are 1 game under 500 at home, and we discussed, can you say a team has a home court advantage if they're not using it? If it's such a rocking place, and it should be a home court advantage, but the team has a losing record, and we looked it up, the average winning percentage at home was about 58% for the NBA. So they're a game under 500 at home, and they are under the league average as far as winning percentage at home. So do the Kings have a home court advantage? I think it depends on who you ask. When I'm in there, it looks like a home court advantage. It seems like a home court advantage. They are not losing because of the fans, but they're also not harnessing that energy, taking advantage of it and using it to power through. They're not doing that either. So hopefully they can tonight. They don't have a terrible record at home, but they're a game under 500.
Let me toss this out to you while we're on here. Since Mike Brown took over, so the Beam Team season, what would you guess is the Kings' winning percentage at home? So the last 3 seasons.
I know this has been an issue. So I'm going to say slightly above 500. I'm going to say about 52.
It's 54.5%. They are 67 and 56 at home over the last 3 seasons.
Yeah.
And that doesn't include play-in, so obviously it's a little higher if you count the Warriors.
So it hasn't always been an issue, and I think hearing that the league average is in the 50s also kind of speaks to how important or maybe not important home court actually is in general, and we can change our narrative once the Kings are headed to Memphis. It's only 56%. It's not even that big of a deal, but we can change that when we get to Memphis. Got to take care of business here first. And the other question is Is it a bad look if the Kings don't win? Would you look at the Kings any differently if the Kings don't win tonight? Even if they lose in Memphis, at least you could say, oh, well, they took care of business at home and Memphis was ready to go. They had a couple days off. Now they get to play at home with an opportunity to get to the playoffs. It's fine. Would it make you feel any differently? Or is it, Allen, this team is a nothing burger regardless. It doesn't matter when they lose. We had a texter hop on at 916-339-1140. And the texter basically said that the Kings aren't good enough to make the playoffs anyway. So there it goes, 916. I'm sorry, the Kings haven't played good enough to make it to the playoffs. Whether they win tonight or not, the season's over after the next game. So I think it's they don't think that the Kings can beat the Grizzlies. I do think the Kings can beat the Grizzlies, but ultimately I don't know that they're going to be able to handle the Thunder. But as far as the game tonight, I do think it would be a bad look to lose. I do think they would be looked at differently by the fan base. There's a fan out there, and even the people that want to keep the pick, it still would be, I think, to a level of embarrassment. I think it would be up there. You can say, hey, well, at least we get to keep the pick, but I do believe that it would be a worse look, even if they don't get into the playoffs, losing to the Mavs tonight than the Grizzlies. Some people would say it doesn't matter. They're not doing anything anyway. But there is a level of, all right, man, you lost to this Mavericks team at home.
So this is kind of the levels of this season versus into the future, what tonight's game would mean. And I know we're going to talk about this later too, but what is the joke we've been making all season long?
We're not we're not Dallas.
Yes, Sacramento, we're not Dallas. There's a reasonable argument I would make that even with Kyrie Irving's contract situation, torn ACL, and the draft picks and everything else, there's a reasonable argument the Dallas Mavericks have a brighter future than the Sacramento Kings. Again, I'm not saying it's like 100% yes, but like they have Anthony Davis, and I would say Anthony Davis right now is as good, if not better, than Domantas Sabonis. So when healthy,
yes.
Which is obviously the giant caveat.
We'll know more this if Kyrie decides to stay. They do have more options than people would lead you to believe.
Yes, but this is one of those games where if you believe that making the playoffs is the difference for the Kings between who's going to be the coach next year, who's going to be the general manager, if those things aren't already decided, which we don't know, then this may have a lot to do with the direction that both of these organizations go from here, right? Because Dallas, it feels like it can't get worse. Trust me, it can get worse. Sacramento feels like it can't get worse. It can totally get worse. So I feel like that is partially what could be on the line tonight.
Well, I do think, and I've held on to this. Number one, whenever the season ends, you're going to want to continue to listen to the Allen Stiles Show, the Morning Show, and the Drive Guys, because the word on the street is that if a decision is made on Doug and Monty McNair, it's going to happen quickly. We will not have to wait. So whether that's tomorrow, the end of the week, hopefully the Kings win, so it prolongs, but we will know something pretty soon. And with that being said, if you lose to the Mavericks at home, that embarrassment meter, no point guard on the floor, Anthony Davis just randomly came back. Klay Thompson didn't make a shot the last time he was in this arena for a play-in game. You lose that game, I think I don't know how you bring Monty McNair back if you lose the game tonight. If you win tonight and lose to the Grizzlies, I know this sounds silly, but this is what we're dealing with. I do think it would make a difference. To your point, should it? Absolutely not. Will it? I think it will.
Wow.
I think it will.
Yeah, you would go. I would say to that point, should it matter? Absolutely not. Will it matter? I don't know. You're at the point just observing everything that's happened that you're like, I think it will matter.
I think it definitely matters.
Wow.
We have learned this season that they react a lot on feelings. They react a lot on just impulse decisions. They've kind of behave like when you're, when QVC is on or something like that. You know your friend Everybody's got that friend that keeps buying stuff on Instagram because they saw an ad, or on Facebook because they saw an ad, or on X, whatever it is, or TikTok. That's kind of the Kings. A lot of impulse decisions. So, yes, I think that it's just a harder sell, right? Trying to sell a team that lost to this Mavericks team at home in a 9-10 game is a lot harder than trying to sell a team that had all the good vibes in Sacramento and then went off to the Grizzlies, and the Grizzlies were at home. They were prepared, and it was a close game, and you didn't have Malik Monk, and maybe Jake LaRavia's thumb still isn't good enough. That's a much easier sell than you lost to the Mavericks at home, this Mavericks team.
Which, to your point, this is why the people who have been, I don't care about this season, some people even, I want the draft pick, et cetera, they're making the rational decision of, I care about prioritizing the future than trying to salvage this season, which I think is a logical response if you are someone with a longer term vision of like, seasons don't matter, this is about sustainable winning, et cetera, which should be Monty McNair and the front office's vision, which is why it's so hard to compartmentalize that with you win tonight and you keep your job, or you lose tonight and you don't keep your job.
I honestly think it's that simple.
Which is crazy.
Now, I also think that Monty McNair could still be relieved of his duties if they lose to the Grizzlies. Don't get me wrong, but I think I think it could be more of a coin flip. I do.
I mean, that's crazy because like the team is exactly the same.
I know.
Monday as they would be on Thursday, just with one more loss.
And if they get into the playoffs, then he's not going anywhere.
I don't know if I can confidently say that.
I feel like I can.
I don't know.
The playoffs are the playoffs. They might have a parade for the playoffs. That's how this organization treats the playoffs.
I wouldn't go that far, but at the same time, I think they should already have a vision of what they want to do before this game ever tips off.
Yeah, they should.
And I don't know if they do or not.
Maybe they do, but I'm telling you, they could have a vision. Everybody has a plan until you get punched in the mouth. They could have a vision. You lose to the Mavericks tonight. That is not part of the vision.
The visions are clear.
That'll change everything, but they're not going to. I'm telling you, they're not going to. 5-point favorites, and there will be a beam tonight. And it will be because who showed up? Who has to show up tonight? And I have HAS in capital letters. Who has to show up tonight? 916-339-1140. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Visit SacktownSports.com and join the Sacktown Sports 1140 newsletter.
Power Business Technology is proud to be a 100% independent, locally owned and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer since 2021. Contact us today for all your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at powercopiers.com.
Allen Stiles. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sacktown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sacktown Sports app.
Who has to show up tonight? Who is the most important player? Now, there is an X factor that we will discuss, but that's not the person that has to show up tonight. There are a couple names that you could throw out there. And again, X factor that we'll discuss is different than who has to show up tonight. Because if that person doesn't show up, the X factor doesn't matter. My initial feeling, Kyle, I haven't thought about this at all yet. And by the way, boogieing on down to Doco in about 45 minutes. So if you happen to be out there, say what's up to your boy. We'll be doing the show for the last 2 hours from out there. Then we'll hand you over to the Drive guys who will be out there as well as game night. So we're all going to be out there enjoying it. The only jacket I have is the jacket that I normally wear to media day, my suit jacket. So I don't necessarily want to wear that. Can somebody let me know if it's chilly out there? Just let me know. Okay, that's all I need to know. Who has to show up tonight? As some calls are coming in right now, so I'm going to go first here. I want to just say Domantas Sabonis, but offensively, the Kings can survive a game where he doesn't, quote-unquote, show up. So I want to say Domantas Sabonis, but I don't think offensively you need him to show up, and I'm not going to say I'm not really worried about his, quote-unquote, his rebounding showing up. So I don't think that I'm going to go with Domantas Sabonis. I'm kind of torn between two guys, and it's pretty obvious between DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine. The bottom line is one of them has to show up tonight, right? I don't think they could survive neither of them showing up. So I'm just going to take the bait, take the easy answer, and take the guy that's getting paid the most on the team. Zach LaVine has to show up tonight. I'm just going to keep it simple. DeMar DeRozan, to me, is his volume is always going to be there, and DeMar DeRozan is going to find a way to get on the board, get to the free throw line, things like that. So I would say that Zach LaVine needs to show up tonight. The 530 on the text line says, you know who has to show up tonight? The first 5 minutes. Establish dominance early. That is the recipe. I really like that. 530. Do not, and again, on the flip side, if you're the Mavericks, you're trying to take the crowd out of it early. So I hear you on that 530. The first 5 minutes, that has to show up tonight. Can't be chasing, messing around, because they've done that before. They did that against the Suns. The Suns are just awful and didn't have anybody. So the first 5 minutes, that has to show up tonight. As far as players are concerned, I'm just taking the easy route and saying Zach LaVine. And honestly, I'm also saying Zach LaVine because I just want him to continue in his rhythm, because assuming that the Kings win tonight, you know who has to show up in Memphis? Zach LaVine.
Well, that's kind of the point I've been making with the dog segment for the last 3 games is, yes, he's not going to put up 40 points every night, but the expectation is of showing up. In mostly just because of the contract and who he was traded for. I mean, the player himself, if Zach LaVine were making $30 million, I think nobody would have a problem with Zach LaVine.
Right.
We brought up the stats yesterday, which I could not believe that he is shooting exactly the same from the field and 3-point range as a Chicago Bull and as a Sacramento King. So he's giving you exactly what he was giving you in Chicago, has not missed a beat. He's taking 1 shot less per game, which doesn't feel real given, how much we've been complaining about him not taking over at times. And obviously, there's 28-shot games and 8-shot games that average out to 16. But I think I agree with your sentiment just as a general principle for Zach LaVine.
And I think it has to be Zach LaVine. Let's hear from DeMar DeRozan, though, as he discussed how this is a Game 7. Here it is.
I mean, it's literally win or go home. I mean, it's nothing more than that other than a Game 7, and this is a Game 7. It's literally win and go home. So that mentality is whoever won it the most.
The Sacramento Kings are 21-8 when shooting 38% or better from 3-point range this season. They shot 38% from deep against Dallas over 3 games. They're 3-0. The Mavericks are 17th in 3-point defense, allowing opponents to shoot 36.5% this season. That is from Frankie Cardicelli. So shout out Frankie for pulling those numbers. And that's great stuff. I mean, obviously it has to continue.
We bring the boom.
Yes, it does.
That's what we do.
And some of these teams they've been bad. The worry that I have is that they haven't faced the Mavs full strength. But the reason that worry goes away is because the Mavs aren't full strength now. This is a different iteration. The Kings have not seen the Anthony Davis Mavs. Most teams haven't. But no Kyrie still some injuries there. But the one thing that I do worry about is we know that Anthony Davis defensively is a dog. So could that affect how the Kings shoot the basketball tonight and how they operate their offense? That's obviously the X factor is that we have not seen Anthony Davis on this Mavs team. They're 3-0 against the Mavs, but they technically have not played this Mavs team.
I'm also looking up the last game logs real quick just to make sure. And I believe, so this is going to be tonight, the third game where the Mavericks, the third game period, where the Mavericks have all three of their bigs at the same time. And that's Anthony Davis, Derek Lively, and Daniel Gafford.
Right.
If you remember, all of them had injuries at the same time earlier in the year. This is the third game that all three of them are going to play together.
They just don't really have much of an identity, which should make you feel good, but should also scare you a bit because it's harder to game plan. And I know Doug Christie said that they've been sending the scouts out there for weeks because they essentially knew that it was going to be the Mavericks. But it's a little bit different when you obviously get on the court and it's a one-game play-in and anything can happen. 916-339-1140. Ron wants to be part of the conversation. What's up, Ron? What you got for us?
Hey, good. Hey, first-time caller, 3-month listener.
Oh, appreciate it, Ron. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm up here in Yuba City. I listen to you guys all the time. Hey, give me some time, okay? I have never called the radio station or anything, so here's the thing. Coach, I gave him 3 to 5 year contract. Monty McNair, he can go 2 minutes ago. And the only thing I've seen improvement is Kings' overall value. Nothing else.
Yeah.
And the only thing consistent since 1986-87 has been Gary Gerald. Nothing else.
Yeah.
Everything else has been, hey, next year, later. How long are they going to keep doing this?
You know, it's a good call, Ron, and I appreciate it. Thanks for listening, because it leads us into our next segment. And on a day where obviously we want the Kings to move forward, this is what we've been talking about as far as the facade of the play-in. And people like Ron are probably excited for tonight's game, but that doesn't mean that you're not tired of the facade. So then the question becomes, could the Kings losing actually help them? It's uncomfortable, but it's possible. We talk about it on the other side. Allen Stiles, Sactown Sports.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sactown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sactown Sports app.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. 800-902-5454. 800-902-5454.
Listen up, Gen Xers. Elizabeth Banks here. The recommended age for pneumococcal pneumonia vaccination has been lowered to 50 and older, even if you're healthy. It's up to us to lead the way. We've done this before. Music videos, fanny packs, even the World Wide Web. So let's do it again and get vaccinated. We're at over 6 times greater risk for pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults under 50. Gen X, this is our shot. Visit vaxassist.com to schedule. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Finally, an easy way to find home improvement contractors. Just visit subcontractorsunited.com and simplify your search for home services professionals. From cabinets to windows, roofing to plumbing, Subcontractors United is an easy, simple way to find and hire a home improvement contractor. And you never have to give up personal information. So no harassing phone calls like you get from those other websites. Subcontractorsunited.com is sponsored by D&D Cabinets and Savage Design.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, the ultimate lunch lineup boasts wall-to-wall sports and scenic views. When you're hungry and in a hurry, the Scratch Kitchen delivers lunch in the clutch. I mean, where else can you order a 29-degree draft beer and a quickie combo on your lunch break? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Twin Peaks Scratch Kitchen scores every time. Dig into hand-smashed burgers, chef-inspired flatbreads, and more at your local lodge.
Sacramento's premier country music festival, Country in the Park, is coming back May 16th and 17th at Cal Expo with Bailey Zimmerman, Billy Currington, Cole Wetzel, Nate Smith, and more. You'll enjoy food trucks, rock walls, and a mechanical bull, line dancing, and more. Single-day GA tickets start at $52 at CITPFest.com. Country in the Park, May 16th and 17th with Michelob Ultra and Carl's Jr. Find out more at CITPFest.com.
When I want to stretch out after a long day, my sofa needs to be comfortable, but it also needs to look attractive and inviting when guests come to visit. I am Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. We spend so much time on our living room sofas that we forget they're a focal point and a hint to our decorating tastes. Right now, during Naturewood Home Furnishings sofa sale, you can save on every sofa, including gallery-exclusive custom-ordered flex steel furniture. Whether you're interested in a new sofa, sectional, or recliner, you can choose from hundreds of colors and fabrics. Nobody has more styles and choices than Naturewood Home Furnishings. And when it comes right down to it, it's all about choices and always about quality. Shop Naturewood for the look you love at a price you'll love even more. Visit Naturewood Home Furnishings right now for this remarkable sofa sale. Off Highway 50 at Hazel, look for the water wheel.
Hey, I'm Allen Stiles. Have an injury? Call Downtown. Downtown LA Law Group, an injury law firm, has many happy clients in Sacramento and the surrounding areas who have called Downtown. Get paid for your injuries from slip and falls or auto accidents. One of their most recent settlements was $1.5 million for a motorcycle accident. Have you had an auto accident? Call Downtown. Text injury help to 40222. That's injury help to 40222 and visit them at calldowntown.com.
The hot weather is coming. Is your HVAC system ready for it? Let Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating make sure it is. Get to Lee'sAirPlumbingandHeating.com. Check out their $99 HVAC tune-up special. And let me tell you why Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating is the way to go. They took care of me when our heater collapsed over the winter, and Lee's set us up with a great new HVAC system that is providing comfort, value, and quality. Let Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating take care of you. License number 635355.
Your home for Kings talk and so much more.
Live and local.
Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
One more segment here, and then we are going to boogie on over to Doco, where I will be kicking it with you, Sacramento. If you're in the area, come say what's up. We'll be there. Thank you to UPS. Chris says it's a little windy, but the sun is shining. Okay, I think I'm going no. I don't want to wear my suit jacket for 8 hours here, so I think I'm just gonna have to tough it out. I'm gonna tough it out. Thank you, UPS. Chris. We will be out there. The sun is shining, feeling good about your Sacramento Kings. And before the break, we had a call from Ron, and Ron was basically breaking down how we're kind of stuck in the middle, right? Like Maren Moore said, meet me in the middle. That's where the Kings have been. And a lot of these play-in teams have been there. A lot people were saying the same thing about the Atlanta Hawks, who they lose last night. So they have to play the 9-10 winner in the East. And now they're having conversations about moving Trae Young. And as far as the Kings are concerned, yeah, we're excited about the play-in, and it's going to be electric out there in Sacramento, but it's going to get old at some point, right? The idea of beating the Warriors to get into the playoffs being a successful season, like we talked about last night, that's going to get tiring. At some point, you got to raise your expectations. At some point, you're going to want more. And how do you get there? So the uncomfortable conversation to have is whether or not the Kings losing tonight could actually help them. It's not something I want to talk about, but that's the reality. The way we've seen this organization run in the past, where as long as we're close, that's good enough. If you lose the 9-10, there's no facade that you're close. You ain't close to nothing. That would mean, yes, you were finished as a 9 seed, but you lost. You were essentially the worst team out of the teams that got invited. You lose the 9-10 game, there's no facade that you are close to anything. So are there people out there that would lose the battle to win the war, that would lose tonight to say, see, Vivek, see, this is not good enough. And you can't try to tell us that. You go to Memphis, you have a really close game. Hey, no Malik. Hey, maybe you're the underdog anyway because you're in Memphis. Hey, no Malik, no Laravia. We were 3-point underdogs, and it was a tight game. This game, you're favored by 5. We know what the Mavs have been through. They are probably in the argument, I mean, between the Mavs and the Suns, the most dysfunctional team this season. So you lose to that at home. It's tough to look yourself in the mirror. You can look yourself in the mirror if you lose to the Grizzlies. They definitely can. But you cannot look yourself in the mirror if you lose to the Mavericks. Now, I don't want them to, because you win tonight, you have an opportunity, winning, you're in to the playoffs. I would love that. I tell y'all, I love that for a multitude of reasons. But as a fan, looking at this and looking at the mediocrity that has just surrounded this organization for so many years, are there those out there that would say, hey, at least this would end that? At least this would end that. It takes a certain type of fan to want that. Once the ball tips off, you probably don't want it because you're torn, but I would imagine there are some out there that see the bigger picture and just think, Allen, I don't care about a 9-10 win. Yeah, it's fun. That was the argument yesterday for it to be at least the Warriors, right? But you beat a bad Grizzlies team.
A mid Grizzlies team.
You beat a bad Mavericks team. And then you lose to a Grizzlies team. That's just enough. That's just enough daylight for them to try to rewrap this thing.
Allen, you just said something about a minute and a half ago that triggered something, I won't say PTSD, but triggered something in the back of my mind that I think had been repressed from this just crazy season that we had. And it was when you just said, hey, no Jake LaRavia, no Malik Monk, lost on the road against a good Grizzlies team.
Yeah.
Let me take you back to, what is today, April 16th? Let's go to April 16th, 2024. Hey, no Kevin Huerter, no Malik Monk.
Yeah.
Lost to a very good Pelicans team, respectable.
Yeah, right.
Pelicans team. We won the first play game. We knocked the Warriors out of the playoffs. Klay Thompson tried to come into Golden One Center and lost. But then we went on the road, had to take on a very tough team, respectable 8 seed. And it's okay that we lost. Are we living in a simulation?
It's the same thing.
It's the same. Now, the only difference I would say is this year's team is not going to make the playoffs because they're bad and had turmoil. Last year's team is not going to make the playoffs because of those injuries we just mentioned, like we talked about before. They were 42-29 before Malik got hurt.
Last season was legit. And how quick they moved off of Mike Brown, they didn't really care too much about the injuries, to be completely honest with you. So the worst situation to come from tonight would be to win tonight and lose in Memphis. That's the worst situation. That's the worst situation. It would be better to lose tonight or obviously just get to the playoffs to have some fun in the playoffs.
Well,
but winning tonight and losing on Friday is the worst situation for the Sacramento Kings fan base, I would say.
You say that because no playoffs and no pick?
No playoffs, no pick, but they could do the we're close thing if they wanted. The only way I don't think they could do the we're close thing is if they get their butts whooped by the Grizzlies. If it's a close game, we're in trouble. They would have to get their doors blown off by the Grizzlies.
Okay. I think I understand where you're coming from, even if I don't put that much weight on one game having that much of an impact on the organization's direction for the next 3 years. But who knows? This is not a super well-run organization. The funny thing about what you said about losing tonight is that would be the only scenario left. There is one path left to keep the draft pick. Very, very, very small path to keeping the draft pick. but it would still be alive theoretically if they lost tonight for the people who want to keep the pick.
But the Mavericks, don't they? The Mavericks have to get to the playoffs.
So here's the scenario. It is the Mavericks win tonight. Again, all four of these results have to happen. The Mavericks win tonight. The winner of Miami-Chicago beats Atlanta on Friday. The Mavericks beat the Grizzlies on Friday. And then the Kings win a coin toss against the Hawks. If all four of those things happen, then the Kings would be in position to keep the pick. But that is the only scenario left on the entire board is Mavericks win 2 games, Hawks lose on Friday, and you win a coin toss. It's so astronomically low. But a funny point of like, hey, some people really don't want to have no playoffs and no pick. So if they can compartmentalize the playoff chances versus the pick chances, maybe they'll still hold out hope. I know our friend Drew on Twitter kind of did the same thing, reposting the graphic I had. But it's trying to figure out the scenario they don't want is the one that you outlined, which is lose to Memphis.
That's the worst. That's the worst situation. From the pick perspective, from the we can sell this still perspective, from the mediocrity perspective. If you lose the 9-10 game, you're not mediocre. You're bad. You're bad. You're bad.
Or at least you're worse than Dallas.
Which is bad. Which is not good.
It's really not good.
Which is not good. So that would cause the upward. That's not what I want, but I'm just praying that if they win tonight, just beat the Grizzlies so we don't have to do the same thing all over again. Now, you can make the argument how this should go is even if you lose to the Grizzlies, hey, this is the second year we've done the same thing. We have to be better in some way. We have to improve. We have to make moves. And I'm not saying that has to result in Monty McNair being laid off, but we need to we need to do something differently to stop ending up in the same spot. That is how it should go. I'm just not terribly confident that that is how it will go. Because how it should go is we keep doing the same thing. Let's do something differently so we can try to get over the hump. That's how it should go, regardless of whether you lose tonight or lose to the Grizzlies. That's how it should go. But how it could go and how I feel like it will go is we're close. We just need to tweak some things here or there because they're close. If you're looking to simply, they are technically close to getting into the playoffs. But again, that's what I'm saying. That's been their goal. They're not close to anything actually substantial. But to them, they are close because they are technically close to getting into the playoffs.
But isn't it also a matter of expectations, right? So this would be the second year in a row where basically you're like, we're fighting for the 8th seed so we can lose in 4 to the Thunder, and the reason we didn't get there would be because Malik Monk and the white guy coming off the bench got hurt.
Yes.
If it's that exact situation again from this year to last year, and it's the same team, I understand being like expectations have changed. But when you look at everything that's happened this year, from the coach getting fired shockingly in the middle of the season, to the winning streak, to the trading De'Aaron Fox, to the injuries, to the lineup switches, to the assistant coach and assistant general manager leaving in the middle of the season, and everything they've franchise altering trades, like, do the expectations change at all and say at least we got back to exactly where we were last year?
I don't know. When you're seeing other teams leapfrog you, I think that changes things. And the Kings, a couple years ago, when I was on my way to Sacramento, they were the hot, sexy team. Now there's more hot, sexy teams, and the Kings are not hot or sexy. When you talk to me again, I'll be a Doko. Wheels on the ground, feet in the soil, ready for a beam. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Keegan Murray plays here.
Keegan scores another three-pointer. Keegan Murray knocking it down for 23 points. Matched De'Aaron Fox for game scoring honors.
Sacktown Sports is your proud home of the Sacramento Kings.
I'm Ken Korak with your Green and Gold Report, brought to you by Comcast Business, powering possibilities. Well, a little historical perspective on Jacob Wilson's 15-game hitting streak to begin the season, which ended on the 13th against the Mets. In the expansion era, the only longer streak by an athletic to start a season, Stan Javier hit in 17 straight in 1994. The Athletics record, Hank Majeski, 19 straight in 49. Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business with reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, advanced fiber solution, and Wi-Fi backup. Comcast Business helps turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business. For details on special offers, including free professional installation and up to a $500 Visa prepaid card on qualifying internet bundles, log on to business.comcast.com. Comcast Business, powering possibility.
When an overwhelmed injury victim calls Ashton or Price, we immediately remove their legal burden and introduce them to the very best medical care in the region. They focus on their health and we handle all the rest. When they reach the end of their medical journey and are reunited with happiness and hope, we unleash our decades of legal experience to obtain maximum compensation. We are real, local, experienced litigators and snappy dressers too. Consultation's free and there's never a fee until we win.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton and Price.
Spring is here, and that means gigantic savings for all your oil change needs at Jiffy Lube today. Get a $25 gift card with the purchase of any Pennzoil Platinum full synthetic oil change through May 31st at your local Jiffy Lube service center in the greater Sacramento areas. And don't forget about the additional $30 off online coupon at jiffylube.com. Terms apply. Valid email address required. See pennzoil.com/rewards for details. Jiffy Lube, a huge spring savings for you today.
Skeeter here, Field Tech, Sacramento Yellow Mosquito and Vector Control District. Hey, it's my favorite week of the year, Mosquito Awareness Week. Yep, the spring and warm weather means the little suckers are starting to breed and bite. Gotcha. So it's time to fight the bite. Once a week, drain standing water from flower pots, bird baths, dog dishes, and at dawn and dusk, start using insect repellent outside and wear long clothes, because these skeeters are up for blood.
The Sacramento Yellow Mosquito and Vector Control District reminds you it's time to fight the bite. For more information, go to fightthebite.net.
Power Business Technology is proud to be a 100% independent, locally owned and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer since 2021. Contact us today for all your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at powercopiers.com.
Listen for the Toyota Tahoe Report every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday with Johnny Mosley to get the latest weather conditions in Tahoe throughout this snow season. Brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. Toyota, let's go places.
Your home for Kings talk and so much more.
Live and local.
Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
Time to get into Christie's cuts. Practice yesterday, and based on what I've seen, I do feel like there is a quiet confidence about this team right now. It's not an away game, but it's a business trip for the Sacramento Kings. In their mind, it's time to take care of business. It's time to do what you are supposed to do. Do what everybody thinks that you can do. And then you go on a real business trip to Memphis and take care of business. Well, a couple that will not be participating in the events tonight. The Sacramento Kings have ruled out Malik Monk and Jake LaRavia for today's playing game against the Mavericks. It should have been, Jake. It should have been. Man, and I can't get over, for lack of a better term, the bad luck that the Kings have had, and more specifically Malik Monk. Because what are the chances? Talk about roulette and your number hitting, which is always fun when it goes back to back. But not in this case, where the chances of a player being injured around the same time 2 seasons in a row to miss the postseason have to be fairly low. I mean, for a guy that has not really been viewed as a injury-prone guy, right? Ben Simmons, I'm sure he's missed the same time frame. Joel Embiid, I'm sure he's missed the same time frame. Guys like that, Zion, who missed the play-in last season, but Malik Monk has never really been in this situation, partly because he was still in the process of building up his name. He wasn't playing this much. So, I I don't really know what to make of it other than I just feel bad for Malik. I feel bad for the rest of the roster because this was a real opportunity. When you move on from De'Aaron Fox, we all were talking about Malik Monk and taking the keys and what can he do. And the whole situation has just been a tough one from the time that he got to play, who was missing while he was playing, and then he goes down when the Kings get somebody back. And as it pertains to Jake LaRavia, that was a home run. That guy showed up, brought his lunch pail to work every single game. And we liked what we were seeing from him defensively. Then all of a sudden, one game shows up, and we know he could shoot the three ball from what he did in Memphis. Then he starts making the three ball. We're saying, man, Keegan's getting a rest. This guy's also guarding point guards. He can guard threes and fours. This is great. We can release these lineups of Keegan, Jake, Devin Carter, Jake, Keon Ellis. And you don't even get to enjoy that when it matters the most. So just a real tough situation for the Sacramento Kings. And I don't know how this keeps happening. I understand that every team is a bit injured. They're about to play the Dallas Mavericks, who didn't have a guy over 6. They had Kessler Edwards playing center for a month. Kyrie Irving goes down as they make the craziest trade that we've seen in the history of the NBA, and now they have no point guard. And now they're missing their all-star point guard who's playing at an all-star level, and Kyrie Irving, a champion. So I get it, but that's why they're the 10 seed. The 9 seed and the Kings, to me, it's just been little naggy things where it's not the same as, this is a different level. The Mavs, they're on the same level damn near as the 76ers to me. It just happened a little bit later in the season. But this is not the 76ers. You know who else could maybe feel the same way? I know they had a parade and they won a championship. I would say the Bucks, right? You really think that this move to help Giannis, and who's going to stop this pick and roll? They go out, they get Dame, who has had playoff success but never got to the promised land, one of the biggest brands that we've seen coming out of Oakland. And last season, no Giannis. Dame eventually gets hurt as well. This season, to at least start the playoffs, no Dame. That's one that points out in my mind to say their whole season wasn't cooked, but they've had some really bad luck when it mattered the most.
You could honestly say that for the entire second era of the Bucks, because I know this is going to be crazy. It has been over 1,000 days since Giannis Antetokounmpo won a playoff game. Like, he was on the floor, and the Bucks won a playoff game. 3 playoff runs, or 3 seasons, have been derailed by injury now for the Bucks, and it's only going to continue because we know Damian Lillard's going to be out for the start of the playoffs this year.
Yeah, so that's one team that I would put in the same category. A couple other teams, you know, you either aren't there, or maybe you're missing a guy here or there. But for the Kings to say, okay, we're going to move De'Aaron Fox, Zach LaVine is our new star shooting guard, and Malik, let's get you at point guard. First, it doesn't work out. Then he gets injured. Okay, we've always needed this another wing. We were able to get Jake LaRavia, and it's a rental because of the constraints that the Kings have to keep Jake LaRavia very low possibility that Jake LaRavia stays, so it's more of a rental, and now he's not here for the play.
I don't know. I think we're making too much of the low chance of them keeping Jake LaRavia.
And we'll discuss that in the summer, because maybe this injury actually keeps him based on the market. We'll discuss that. But would I have traded? That's a great question. Would you have traded having Jake LaRavia tonight for, I guess, the possibility of keeping him? I think a lot of people would like it the way it is, because a lot of people, as much as we're excited for the game tonight, they care more about the future. And if you get to keep Jake LaRavia for a longer period of time, that'd be great. Doesn't mean that it is going to happen. All right, Kyle, it's time for Christie's Cuts.
A lot, man. Because he's a monster. Like he doesn't have to worry about battling with the big guys. Probably not in as many pick and roll coverages. Rim protection is probably a bit different. He's just a problem, period. But when you start to take him and put him on smaller players, his advantage continues to escalate. I don't really worry about that. The ones that I have to ramp up are the ones that I'm worried about. This one, like, first things first. Like, once we get in the game, we can try to calm down. But I think that there is a certain level of a sense of urgency, physicality, and aggressiveness that is an absolute must. So once you get in there, you kind of see who's who, and you kind of get a vibe for who's calm in the moment, who's excited in the moment. Sometimes you miss the moment and you can't calm yourself down. And other times you find that sweet spot, or you depend on one of your teammates who is like that, and you ride on their energy a little bit. You embrace the moment and enjoy it, because if you don't, all the other things that go against you, it's the ability to get stiff and tight and all these things that we're not about. So I want them to have fun, be serious about what we're doing, pay attention to detail, all those different things, but at the same time, come out here and have fun, put on the show. Well, I don't think, a few players have been here, but Sacramento postseason basketball is a different animal. It's a lot of places get credit for a lot of things that started right here in Sacramento, in my opinion. I had never experienced anything quite like it. I've been to finals games. I've watched them on TV, and nothing was like that. So I'm hoping that they come out. I wouldn't expect anything less and turn the hell up. So it should be a really, really fun environment.
Talking about the Kings and postseason basketball in Sacramento, there's nothing like it. I know the fans are going to show up. The Kings, it's their job to you don't need much to get this fan base going, to get that arena jumping. You don't need much. You just got to show up early, because that's the number one goal of an away team. And the Grizzlies weren't able to do it last night, and they lost. Even though they made a game out of it, they lost. The number one goal of an away team is to, number one, stay connected by about 10 points throughout the game. But number two, and they would rather do this, is to punch the other team in the mouth and take the home court out of it immediately. You come out and you get a team playing from behind. That's what the Mavs want to do. Do they have the horses to do that? I'm not sure, but that's what they want to do. Doug Christie talking about how some guys, you got to enjoy it, have fun. Sounded like they were having fun in the background. And if you don't, you end up being stiff. He also mentioned kind of reading the team and seeing who's ready for the moment. So I do wonder, in these one-game settings, if a Dougie McBuckets gets in there and he's hot, he could walk away playing 15, 20 minutes. And I'm dead serious. You never know what's going to happen in these games, especially with Jake LaRavia out. So these are the games, and we'll talk about who has the most to gain from today's game and possibly Friday's game and getting to the playoffs. These are the games where you can really make your money. And these are the games where you have to make decisions that maybe you wouldn't typically make in a series. How many times in a series do we see a certain rotation and a team will feel out the other team, especially if you're on the road? Hey, let's see what they got going on here. Okay, we're down 1-0. We're on the road. We're just trying to steal one, whatever the case may be. But a one-game playoff, you got to rock and roll. If Keegan Murray is not shooting the basketball well, and Trey Lyles is, whatever it is, you got to rock and roll. If DeMar DeRozan might be the one guy, DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine, they kind of don't count because you essentially have to play them. But everybody else, we could see some random people play tonight. I kind of hope that we don't, because that means that the usual rotation is taking care of business. But in these one-game playoff play-in situations, anything can happen. It could be a Trey Lyles day. It could be a Doug McDermott day. Keon Ellis is going to get his run regardless, but a Keon Ellis day. So these are the things that are exciting about the play-in, and these are the situations where Doug is going to have to tap in to the pulse of the team and understand who's ready to go to work and who, Jared Allen, the lights were too bright. The lights were brighter than I expected. So we're going to know that pretty darn early here. The good thing, like we said, these guys have plenty of experience in the play-in. It is not a new situation. And they've been playing together consistently the longest. From the coaching staff to the players, I know that they've been injured, but the Grizzlies losing their coach not too long ago. The Warriors are out of it now. The Mavs have been dealing with a ton. They really haven't had their bigs all back for that long. Everything that they're dealing with, they're having post-game press conferences or postseason press conferences as if the season's already over. So just put them out of their misery.
Yes, let's put them out of their misery tonight. This is Kyle back in the studio. We are all set up down at Doco, so when we come back, Allen Stiles, Golden One Center, Kings, Mavericks, season on the line. We get you ready for tonight's game next, right here on Sacktown Sports.
You never know what you might hear when listening to a Sacramento Kings game.
Out of Keegan, going for another triple. Man, is he feeling it. Keegan, can he do it? Yes, there's number 11, Keegan Murray. Keegan steps back. He just knocked down his 12th three-pointer, a Kings franchise record. He's got 45 points.
Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with Sacktown Sports and the Sacktown Sports app.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. All kinds of beers and thousands of wines.
Drink responsibly, B21. Progressive knows if you have to choose between everyday life and your boat, boat wins.
What are you going to do? Take the boat out for a spin or go mail something? Boat wins! Are we cleaning the patio or taking the boat out fishing? Boat wins! Are we skipping that eye exam to go sailing? Boat wins!
Rescheduling eye exams can be a nightmare.
All right, fine. Eye exam, then boat.
Yeah! With Progressive, you can bundle your boat with your home or auto and save with a discount and spend more time enjoying those savings on your boat. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states and situations.
You know what's better than a limited time deal? An unlimited time deal. That's why the Wendy's $5 biggie bag with a junior bacon cheeseburger, 4-piece nugs, junior hot and crispy fries, and small soft drink is available all the time. Because the best time for fresh, never frozen beef and Applewood smoked bacon is all the time. Duh. I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot. For the best deal of all time, gotta be Wendy's.
Unlimited time does not mean forever. U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, and California via third-party delivery. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation and a regular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduce stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Save $12,750 off MSRP. Every new 2025 Silverado 1500 LT and RST 5.3 in stock at the Maida Chevy Silverado Supercenter. After all rebates. And Maida Chevy still has one of the largest selections in the Sacramento area. $12,750 off new Silverado exclusively at the Maida Chevy Silverado Supercenter. Now that's big, huge. See them all at MaidaChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
Trading 2011 renewal, not available with special financing, lease, and some other offers.
Finally, an easy way to find home improvement contractors. Just visit subcontractorsunited.com and simplify your search for home services professionals. From cabinets to windows, roofing to plumbing, Subcontractors United is an easy, simple way to find and hire a home improvement contractor. And you never have to give up personal information. So no harassing phone calls like you get from those other websites. SubcontractorsUnited.com is sponsored by D&D Cabinets and Savage Design.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud phone system. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very
calm. I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, Sacktown Sports 1140.
Sabonis, top of the foul circle. Monk at the right elbow. DeRozan above the three-point arc. The ball now handed to Trey Lyles. 9.8. Kings down 1. We're in overtime. The ball in the hands of Debo. Drives to the left. 2 defenders there. Up fake. Splits defenders. Step through. Scores the basket. Kings lead it. 129-128. 1.5 seconds to go. Desperation attempt. There are whistles as the shot was launched by Dinwiddie at midcourt.
Your home for Kings talk and so much more.
Live and local.
Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
We did it. We pulled it off. We are ready to go. We are here in Doco at Doco, breaking everything down for your Sacramento Kings as we get you ready for the Dallas Mavericks coming to town to take on your Sacramento Kings. And it is beautiful out here. Okay, I got my Tony Stark shades on. And Kyle, I whipped these out because, like I said, the vision has always been clear. All right, and they are blue, just like the Mavs colors and the Grizzlies.
Visions are clear now.
Take care of business tonight. Take care of business against the Grizzlies. And then we see what happens against the Thunder. It's very simple. It has always been very simple.
Those glasses are crazy, by the way.
But is it going to be simple? Will the Kings be able to get it done? Who is the X factor tonight? Well, to me, I think it is pretty obvious. It's Keon Ellis. Keon Ellis is the X factor tonight. He showed out in the play-in last season, and I believe he will do it again. The only person that I was debating to throw into the X factor category is Keegan Murray, because Keegan Murray is another guy who we've seen shown up in a big way in play-in games. But I'm going with Keon Ellis with no Malik Monk. We really can't have one of those random Keon 2-point games. I want him shooting early. I want him shooting often, and that will give all of us an opportunity to see what he can do, and he can continue to cement himself as one of the great two-way up-and-comers in this league. I watched some of Dyson Daniels last night as the Hawks took on the Magic. You see the vision there. You see how good this kid can be. We got somebody like that in our backyard in Keon Ellis. As we discussed last week, Keon Ellis, a top 10 value contract in the league. In the league, a top 10 value contract in the league. And he wasn't 10. He wasn't 10. On the line, Keon Ellis is my X factor. And for the Mavs, if you want to do that side, and Kyle, I'll throw to you as well to get your X factor for the Kings. But the X factor for the Mavericks, isn't it obvious? Because I feel like I'm doing the same thing where Anthony Davis has to show up. So I don't know that Anthony Davis can be the X factor because he has to show up. To me, it's very obvious, though, and this guy has played well against the Kings in the past. The X factor for the Mavericks is PJ Washington. If PJ Washington shows up the way he's shown up a couple times this season against the Kings have a problem. They have a problem. Number one, with no Jake LaRavia, he is a big body wing. From Julius Randle to PJ Washington. These big body wings give the Kings problems. All right, whether it's Keegan Murray guarding him, which we don't think will happen because he might be guarding Anthony Davis if Keegan is at the 4 and they're running Derek Lively or Daniel Gafford at the 5. So who guards PJ Washington? I don't love DeMar DeRozan on PJ Washington. I don't love Zach LaVine on PJ Washington. Maybe it's, I guess, Trey Lyles when he's in there can check PJ. But to me, PJ Washington is the X factor for the Dallas Mavericks. You got to contain that guy and just kind of rock and roll from there. Kyle, who are your X factors tonight?
So first and foremost, I want to touch on this PJ Washington thing because you've brought up a great point. You were out one day and Brennan and Chris Watkins were doing certified Kings killers, and PJ Washington right at the top of the list. He has played the Kings 9 times in his career. He is averaging 20 points per game against the Kings. PJ Washington has never averaged more than 13 per game in a season. He shoots 52% from the field, 51% from the three-point line. PJ Washington, in his career, is a 51% three-point shooter against the Kings. He has games where he scored 28 points, 23 points, 28 points again. He scored 42 points one time at Golden One Center while he was a member of the Charlotte Hornets. So certified Kings killer coming in the building. And by the way, he's going to be playing the 3 for the first time, which means, as you just mentioned, either DeMar DeRozan or Zach LaVine is going to have to be doing some guarding of one PJ Washington.
I don't like that. I don't like that at all. And Kyle, as we kind of break down these different X factors, I see a text come in, and I know you're going to lose it. But 530 is saying that Klay Thompson is the X factor tonight. I'm going to be honest with you. Sometimes I forget Klay is on that team. I'm being dead serious. Sometimes I forget Klay is on the Mavericks. Just a random season for Klay Thompson. And that does worry me. That does worry me a little bit, but I don't. I'm not going to move off of PJ Washington, but you could easily throw on PJ Washington, Klay Thompson as well. Kyle, who do you have for the Kings?
Okay, so first of all, let's talk Klay Thompson real quick, because I would agree with the texter that Klay Thompson is probably an X factor. And do you know why? Because you can never go lower than 0. Right? He put up 0 points last year. This exact game, the 9-10 play-in at Golden One Center, 0 points. He has not scored a point in this building since 2023. So I understand Klay Thompson's going to give them something tonight. We might have more on him a little bit later. The other one I would add for the Mavericks is just Max Christie. He kind of is going to be the de facto point guard at times.
I almost went there. He got to Dallas, and he was hot, man. And then he got real cold. So I think part of that, too, is because they had Kyrie. He kind of got put in a Malik Monk situation where once he was asked to be more point guard-esque, it wasn't really rocking for him. But I hear you on that. But we can't have too many X factors, Kyle. We can't keep adding to the X factors. You didn't give us one on the Warriors, on the Kings yet?
No, I have not yet. And if I had to pick an X factor, I would go with, and a lot of people don't remember this, the guy who had the most points in the 9-10 play-in game last year, which people don't necessarily remember this. It wasn't De'Aaron Fox. It wasn't Domantas Sabonis. The Kings had one player that went for 30-plus points in that 9-10 game against the Warriors last year, and it was
what's up, Sacramento?
Keegan Murray.
Yep.
So I would say Keegan Murray absolutely is your X-Factor guy tonight.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on that. Obviously, I said Keon, but I was torn because both of them showed out in the play-in game. I would say that as far as Keegan Murray is concerned, he kind of teeters for me on he kind of has to show up, but because of the shot distribution that everybody wants to talk about and how Zach LaVine's going to get his shots, DeMar DeRozan's going to get his shots. With no Malik Monk, I do think it's easier for Keegan to be a part of the action. So I'm right on the cusp of he has to show up, but I think he is being a third. I think if you're a third option or below, you can definitely be an X factor. So I'm with you with Keegan Murray being an X factor and everybody just very anxious and excited for what the Kings are going to be able to do. Yeah, if Klay Thompson and somebody on the Sac Chat said, shout out to the Sac Chat, by the way, Klay Thompson gets going, that's a problem. Somebody on the Sac Chat said, well, why don't you put Keegan on Klay and take him out of the game? I just don't think that – I don't know how to say this without being disrespectful. I just don't think that you can afford to use / waste Keegan on Klay Thompson. If you lose because Klay Thompson turned back the clock, you might just have to wear it. That might be where Keon's time is spent or something like that. But you can't – this team isn't good enough defensively, especially – or even Devin Carter, especially without Jake LaRavia. You cannot waste – and I'm trying to be respectful here, but you cannot waste Keegan on Klay Thompson. You just can't afford to.
No,
it would be nice, but you can't.
And for much of the game, Keegan is going to guard Anthony Davis. I don't know how to say it any more delicately. Keegan's going to be guarding Anthony Davis tonight because they have to. The alternative is him guarding Lively, and Lively's got a good 4 inches on Keegan. That's not to say Anthony Davis doesn't, but Anthony Davis is going to be on Keegan. Now, on the flip side, Keegan is going to be pulling Anthony Davis out from under the paint, so that's an opportunity on the offensive end of the floor. But for good chunks of this game, it's good unless they go to the beef lineup, which Katie Christensen was on this morning and said, they might go to it like right away, but if it doesn't produce results, they might not go back to it. If they don't go with the beef lineup, it's going to be Keegan on AD all game.
There you go. When we return, we keep the conversation going. Let's take it to the sidelines. Are you confident in Doug Christie going into tonight's game? Also, River Cats giveaway, April 19th. Your boy is emceeing. Come say what's up. We'll see what the River Cats do as well. Giveaway on the other side. You don't want to miss it. Down South, Sacktown Sports.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Elk Grove Honda.
I'm Tamara Berg in the KCRA 3 Weather Center. For your Wednesday, expect to see the clouds thinning out this afternoon. You'll feel the Delta breeze with those southwest winds about 10 to 20 miles per hour. Highs today in the low 70s. Expect overnight lows to drop off to the upper 40s. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA 3 News and the KCRA 3 app.
At Elk Grove Honda, we've acquired some of the best pre-owned cars we can find. Whether you purchase a new Honda or a like-new pre-owned Honda, Elk Grove Honda has the right Honda at the right price. In the Elk Grove Auto Mall, Highway 99 and Elk Grove Boulevard, or elkgrovehonda.com.
I gotta get an Elk Grove Honda.
Keegan Murray has it. Streaks forward, then stops, launches the 3, and drains his 4th three-pointer in 8 attempts. 18 points for Keegan Murray. Kings now lead 82-56.
From Doco, it's Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports 1140.
We are back and live from Doco. It's beautiful out here. Getting ready for the Kings, taking on the Mavericks in a battle of the dysfunction. Who is the least or most dysfunctional team in the NBA? The dysfunctional bowl. That's what we are calling it, just having some fun, of course. And you're going to have fun if you win these pair of tickets. Like I said, this was not necessarily done on purpose, but I will be working this game April 19th at Sutter Health Park. Win a pair of tickets to the Sacramento River Cats versus Salt Lake Bees game at Sutter Health Park on Saturday, April 19th. The River Cats are taking on the Salt Lake Bees at Sutter Health Park this Saturday, April 19th. We want to send you and a lucky friend to the game. Looking for caller number 2. Caller number 2, because the Kings need 2 wins to get into the playoffs. Caller number 2 to score a pair of tickets, a pair of reserved level tickets, mind you, to River Cats at Salt Lake Bees. It was a great time. The first game that I did, I've only done one. I get back out there actually starting tomorrow. So I'll be there tomorrow through the rest of the week, including Easter Sunday. But April 19th, you could be there. 916-339-1140, 916-339-1140, 916-339-1140. Caller number 2, because the Kings need 2 wins to get into the playoffs. We're talking X factor here, and we've been talking about the X factor on the court. What about the X factor that is on the court but not playing in Doug Christie? Doug Christie, biggest game of his career so far. He's coaching in the biggest game of his career so far, and he has an opportunity to we can look at all these things as opportunities. You can look at the Kings in general and say, oh, man, we're not where we want to be. But you can look at Doug Christie and say, this is an opportunity for him. This is an opportunity to coach at a high level with some high stakes and show, hey, I could get it done in the postseason as well. So the question is, how confident are you that Doug Christie can get it done? Because obviously, going back to Desmond Bane, funny enough, who had the famous quotes of Taylor Jenkins didn't defend anybody, Taylor Jenkins didn't take any shots, it's on us. So now that you have that barometer, it comes down to whether the guys show up or not. But when you get into the X's and O's, we know from a pump-up perspective, Doug Christie is going to have them boys ready to rock and roll. But when we have discussions about making certain changes during the game, making certain adjustments, hey, Keegan on AD isn't working. He's getting fried. You get fries after the game. The carne asada fries are very good at Golden One. He's getting fried. Do you send a double? Who's the hot hand tonight? Hey, Max Christie wasn't necessarily on our hot sheet, one of our hot guys, but he's balling. So do you make a change there? Hey, Keon, get on Max Christie. We're going to have to go somebody else on Klay Thompson and hope that Klay doesn't get going. Do you trust Doug to get that rocking and rolling tonight? Do you trust Doug to keep them in a good situation? So that's where we're at right now. That is where we're at right now. Do you trust Doug Christie to make these changes throughout the game? Me personally, I've seen Doug make some changes throughout games that gives me confidence about tonight. Obviously, it's level-headed confidence because he hasn't been in this situation before. But I've seen Doug throw a random blitz for 2 possessions and then back off of it. I've seen Doug go with Trey Lyles over Keegan Murray when Trey Lyles was rocking and rolling. I've seen Doug go with Keon Ellis over Malik Monk when Keon Ellis is rocking and rolling. I've seen Doug tinker with lineups and ride that lineup. Hey, I didn't think I'd see a DeMar, Devin Carter, Jake LaRavia lineup tonight, but they're playing well, and they got 7-8 minutes together. And they were a positive in those 7-8 minutes. So I've seen Doug Christie do this before. I've seen it. So I feel fairly confident. I haven't seen him do it on the postseason stage, but I've seen him do it throughout this season. And funny enough, dealing with the Taylor Jenkins firing and a first-time head coach in Isalo for the Grizzlies and everything that's going on with the Nuggets as well, funny enough, these guys don't have a lot of time for these situations based on the firings and when they happen. Doug has been doing this since what, December? So Doug has a ton of games under his belt. He's seen a lot. Now, the rosters have changed, but he's seen a lot. So I feel fairly confident that Doug does have a pulse on this team and even this specific team. And just from a coaching perspective, his experience is still less than a lot of his peers, sure. But compared to the positions that other coaches have been put in, Doug has seen what it looks like when Keon Ellis gets it rolling. Doug has seen what it looks like when Keon Ellis might not have it in that game. You got to look for it somewhere else. Doug has seen a Keegan Murray situation where, hey, Doug McBuckets, come in and let's see what you can make happen. Doug has seen these things throughout the season. So that makes me pretty confident in what Doug is going to be able to do tonight. Now, that doesn't mean that, I think Doug is going to be prepared for every little thing that could happen. And unfortunately, you are going up against a iteration of a team that you haven't seen before. But you've seen Anthony Davis before. You've seen this Mavericks team before. So I feel fairly confident that Doug will be able to make the necessary moves to get this thing done. But we'll just have to see. Kyle, how are you feeling about Doug Christie today from a coaching perspective?
I feel fine, I guess. I mean, I've talked about Doug Christie all season. I feel like it's a mixed bag with what we've gotten this year. I know some people have questioned rotations just like they did with Mike. I know some people have had concerns, questions, all the things like that. But I feel like they're going to be, I don't want to say fine, because there's a difficult matchup, and we talked about Gafford and Lively and Anthony Davis being the bigs together that we haven't seen, but I am really interested as to some of the decisions they make early on in the game. Like, if we see Devin, again, obviously no Jake LaRavia, no Malik Monk, are we going to see Devin Carter potentially early in the game? And does he stick with that? Do they go to the joke you had earlier about Doug McDermott could get 15 minutes all of a sudden? I don't know, but I feel confident enough in Doug because he has shown that he can handle it. And like you mentioned before, the emotion, the pump up perspective, we know what Doug Christie is about when it comes to getting people motivated and telling them what this was about. And those players have that respect from him as a peer, from what I understand. From an X's and O's standpoint, like I said, I think it's going to be fine. I don't think the best thing he can do is just not drive the whole thing off a cliff.
Yeah, and I saw, and great stuff, Kyle. I was dapping up Brendan Nunez, who just rolled up. So we will get Brendan's thoughts as well. It is going to be quite the game. Like I said, we're live here at Doco, just enjoying the postseason air right now. And some people are excited about what's going to happen in a couple hours. Some aren't, and that's fine. I've seen the text line come through, and we get all that, right? I've always said this, and I continue to say it throughout the show here. You can compartmentalize, and you can enjoy tonight. Look, the pick, whatever will be, right? Whatever the universe has for the Kings when it comes to the pick, it's going to work itself out, right? Because you could lose and still miss out on the pick. We're so deep into it now, like Kyle said, so many things have to go right that whole thing is kind of cooked. So right now, it's more so about Nunez joins us when we return. Brendan was at shoot-around for both teams, so Brendan will give us some vibes on how everybody is feeling and whether or not there are a little bit of nerves going on with the Sacramento Kings.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sacktown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sacktown Sports app.
Have you heard? Pulse has 2 exclusive new home brands, Mariana and Mingle & Co. From luxe favorites that are all about turning your space into a sanctuary to fun mix and match dining essentials, there's so much to discover, and trust me, you're gonna love everything. Plus, you can get an extra 15% off throughout the store and earn Kohl's cash. So hurry to Kohl's today and bring it home for less. Select styles, some exclusions apply. Offer ends April 19th. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. 800-848-1331. That's 800-848-1331.
At SMUD, we power business with incentives, strategic account advisors, 50% lower rates, and clean energy solutions. We help businesses thrive. That's our clean power promise. Learn more at smud.org.
Sacramento's premier country music festival, Country in the Park, is coming back May 16th and 17th at Cal Expo with Bailey Zimmerman, Billy Currington, Cole Wetzel, Nate Smith, and more. You'll enjoy food trucks, rock walls, and a mechanical bull, line dancing, and more. Single-day GA tickets start at $52 at CITPFest.com. Country in the Park, May 16th and 17th with Michelob Ultra and Carl's Jr. Find out more at CITPFest.com.
When I want to stretch out after a long day, my sofa needs to be comfortable, but it also needs to look attractive and inviting when guests come to visit. Hi, I'm Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. We spend so much time on our living room sofas that we forget they're a focal point and a hint to our decorating tastes. Right now, during Naturewood Home Furnishings sofa sale, you can save on every sofa, including gallery-exclusive custom-ordered flex steel furniture. Whether you're interested in a new sofa, sectional, or recliner, you can choose from hundreds of colors and fabrics. Nobody has more styles and choices than Naturewood Home Furnishings. And when it comes right down to it, it's all about choices and always about quality. Shop Naturewood for the look you love at a price you'll love even more. Visit Naturewood Home Furnishings right now for this remarkable sofa sale. Off Highway 50 at Hazel, look for the water wheel.
Only one radio program captures the excitement of hunting and fishing as it happens. The award-winning California Sportsman with Sep Hendrickson. Only California Sportsman takes you where the action is, live on the water, live in the blind, and live with the top pros and experts in outdoor sports. California Sportsman with Fishing Hall of Famer Sep Hendrickson is your premier destination for all things outdoors. Sep's Saturday Morning Outdoors. Ultimate Bass and California Sportsman, 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. Saturdays on Sacktown Sports 1140.
It's a myth to think you don't play golf well enough to get fitted for golf clubs. The professionals at the Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio would argue that playing the game with golf clubs properly fitted to your body and swing characteristics is the best way to improve your game and have more fun on the golf course. With a professional staff of fitters, all the major brands of equipment, and cutting-edge technology featuring TrackMan, the indoor-outdoor Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio is worth a look. See for yourself, Fulton Avenue at the Cap City Freeway. Schedule your fitting at 916-808-2531, 808-2531.
Broadcasting live from Doco on Sacktown Sports.
It's Allen Stiles.
That was a new one. That was a new Allen Stiles. Great stuff, Kyle.
We got Doco-specific ones.
Wow, I love that. We are out here at Doco doing our thing, joined by Brendan Nunez, and really excited for what's going down tonight. Brendan, you were at the shoot-around for both teams? You made it to both?
Yeah, made it to both.
Okay, give us the vibe on how everybody's feeling. And, you know, was there a little – I said yesterday coming out of practice, sounded like these guys had a quiet confidence. And me and you, we spoke yesterday about how much they were kind of obsessing over not getting into the half court. What were your takeaways from shoot-around today?
Yeah, I would say that, similar things to what we've heard at practice over the last few days. Obviously, Dallas going a double big lineup. I think that rebounding and pace are extremely big for this Sacramento team's potential success tonight. But it's very much a playing game. Like, anything can happen. You know, this is a Game 7 scenario is essentially how everybody is treating it. And while I will say, talking to some people that cover the Mavs, I think that they're ready to get to Cancun. You got to actually take care of business before we move on to Memphis.
Yeah, it does seem like they want to be put out of their misery, but someone has to do it.
Well, the Kings might have like a somewhat similar feeling, right? Like Dallas is one extreme, but yeah. I'm not so sure that there's not some people on the Kings side that don't feel the same way.
No, you can make that argument for sure, and I would say this. There is more pride. I wouldn't say the Kings have more pride than the Mavs. I do think as far as what they have to play for, there is more to play for. The Mavs, they know everything is cooked. The Kings, yeah, they're missing Malik Monk and Jake LaRavia, but they still have their legit pieces. And I've continued to say this. When you look at what Domantas Sabonis might say to the organization this summer, DeMar DeRozan is in his mid-30s, on his way to his late 30s. Zach LaVine and his contract situation, how that's viewed. They have a lot to play for as far as just respect. And from a timing perspective, you don't really have time to waste. DeMar DeRozan, he might not be in the situation that he signed up for, but he doesn't have time to just cook this season and see what happens next season. There's an opportunity right in front of your face. You got a reeling Mavs team. You got a reeling Grizzlies team. Go in there, see what happens against an OKC team that is still fairly inexperienced. I don't think it's even close between the Mavs and the Kings as far as their Cancun mentality.
I would agree. I mean, the Kings definitely have more to play for. Like, Dallas is the definition of a blank show.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And AD has played, 9 games
yes.
with this team. It's hard to get a gauge of what the heck is going on with that team, to be honest. Like, sure, there's the Clay went 0 of 10 in this building last year in a play-in, and I'm expecting him to let it fly. I don't know if that's going to be a good or bad thing for the Kings/Mavericks. That could go one of two ways in my mind. He's going to let it fly. He's going to let it fly. I'm definitely expecting that. But to your point, I think the Kings do have a little bit more to prove. Like, Zach LaVine is trying to be like, hey, listen, I'm the guy on this team now, you know. DeMar DeRozan and Domantas Sabonis, even if those guys happen to be gone next year, guess what? Like, you're playing for your trade value. If that is how you feel, big if, right, then that's what you're playing for right now. And it means something. So, yeah, I would definitely say that while Dallas leans very much into the, 1, 2, 3 Cancun, they're probably counting down. I think the Kings have more to play for right now.
And here's the other thing, too. When it comes to Domantas Sabonis, yesterday we spoke about Bill Simmons now putting Ivica Zubac over Domantas Sabonis. So he has him. What's that face?
I don't know if I disagree.
Come on now. Brendan.
He's kind of nice, bro.
Okay, you putting Şengün? You putting Şengün over him too?
No, I don't know about Şengün.
Where is Domantas Sabonis?
Jaren Jackson Jr.?
I just think they're rubbing shoulders.
Domantas Sabonis and Ivica Zubac.
Yes. Well, okay. Let me also say, I am speaking from a salary considered standpoint.
Okay.
Would you rather have Ivica Zubac?
Yes, I know where this is going.
I can't off the top of my brain tell you what his deal is, 40. But it is significantly less than Domas's. And to be honest,
but that's
a hot take. I'd rather have that guy on my team with his deal.
But Brendan, that's a different conversation.
You're not wrong.
That's a different conversation because that's
value. But who's straight up better? I think it's a very close discussion.
With that being said, Domantas Sabonis has an opportunity to make something happen in the postseason, which is kind of, been his bugaboo these last couple of years after the whole Kevon Looney situation. So all these guys have something to play for, or I could name off multiple guys. Keegan Murray, his extension situation. Keon Ellis, his contract situation. So there should be a level of pride, if not for that actual team, for yourself.
I mean, I think there's also an aspect of like, listen, some of these dudes on these teams, on this team, were pushing for Mike Brown to get fired, to be honest. And hey, you got what you wanted.
Preach.
So prove that it was the right decision.
Yeah.
And like, you're a big fan of Doug, then go out and put on a show for Doug Christie. So 100%. I definitely agree with you. I think these dudes have a lot to play for. That wasn't meant to be a shot at Domas. That was more so me hyping up Zubac, who I think is a ridiculously good player in this.
$18 million next year.
Hey, he's got the second most post-ups in the league after Nikola Jokic. That is nuts. I think he's going to win Most Improved.
The guy gets a push shot, and all of a sudden he's better than DeMonte.
He's Rashawn Holmes out here? Is that what you're saying?
This is insane to me. He had a great season. Let me know when he does it year after year after year, like Domantas Sabonis.
He might not have to. 3-year, $60 million contract.
Okay, well, let's do the thing. Put Domas on the Clippers. Are they better?
I think we're about the same.
This is crazy.
I don't know if there's that much of a difference.
This is crazy. This is why
it's inverse too. Zubac on this team instead of Domas, are they worse? Exactly.
A little bit.
Exactly. Maybe a little bit.
They'd be in Dallas tonight.
I could see that. I do think, by the way, we got some white shirts. I can show I can show a little bit of the audience here
go on the
YouTube side. We got some Feel the Roar shirts throughout the stadium. Hopefully this works all right here.
There you go.
Are we able to see that here on the YouTube side? Everybody, there is a white Feel the Roar shirt that's going on throughout the entire stadium.
And you better wear them.
I'm going to say, though, I think Dallas is wearing white tonight.
Great.
And we're going white out in Golden One. I'm not sure about that, but a little interesting.
You better wear them. Real fans wear the shirts.
Right.
You don't want to be those fans that don't wear the shirts.
I agree. You got to fully commit.
You got to wear the shirts. You got to wear the shirts. Real quick, Warriors Grizzlies last night. We watched the game together.
We did.
And I thought we were in the Bay Area. With all those Warrior fans. That was embarrassing.
Kyle, how much did he talk about the guy that was at the place with us last night when we were watching this game?
He hasn't said anything yet.
He was either a degenerate gambler or a transplant from the Bay. But this guy was losing it in the second quarter.
Honestly, he was like the greatest entertainment that I've ever seen in my life last night while we were out watching this game. But good entertainment value from that game for sure. I think that selfishly, I would have preferred the Kings play the Warriors just from the straight entertainment value, but I do think that they have better odds against the Grizzlies.
Yes, after you saw that last night, you're thinking, yeah, get the Warriors out of here.
Yeah, that's essentially where I'm at. And hot take, like I think the Kings are making it out of the play-in. But my other side of that is, as backwards as it sounds, I think I shared this with you yesterday, is that the fact that I think they're going to win makes me think they're going to lose.
Yeah.
As backwards as that is.
The old Riddler situation.
Yep.
I don't know, man. And let's take it there. Obviously, the Kings got to take care of business tonight against the Cancun Mavericks. When you watched the Grizzlies last night, did it make you feel more confident in the Kings or less? Because I will say this. They easily could have laid down last night when it was rocking out there and the Warriors were rolling early. The fact that they did come back and not lay down made me feel like, okay, there's a level of respect here, and this is not going to – they didn't look like a reeling team who just fired their coach for majority of that game last night.
Yeah, they have looked a little questionable for most of the end of the season, so I'm still going to hold more on to that than maybe their play-in efforts in that one game off. That's the weird thing about the play-in here is that legit anything could happen.
Right.
Like
And
Steph could have made 2 threes last night, and that's a whole different game.
Well, and they got up. Well, it just didn't feel like defending him. He made 6. And obviously they had that whatever's left of that rivalry. So you could feel less confident because of how the Grizzlies played, or more confident because that's probably the best the Grizzlies will play.
Yeah, I think it's kind of somewhere in between, but more so of the former. Like, this is still single elimination basketball when it comes down to it. This is the reason people love March Madness, because it is the most unpredictable thing imaginable. And this year's March Madness might not be the greatest example with every one seed eventually advancing there, but it's hard to gauge, man. I continue to stand on, I think that turnovers, pace, and rebounding are the keys to tonight's game.
Yeah.
And funnily enough, while I think it's a key to tonight against Dallas, I think that's just the key to the Sacramento Kings in general, specifically with turnovers and pace, something that's extremely important for this team. And when they look at their best, but also DeMar DeRozan had his highest scoring game as a member of the Kings against the Mavericks. That was an overtime game where he hit the game winner, if you'll remember. And there's a part of me that, while I'll say, I think that pace plays into their favor, you get in a half-court setting, we might see a lot of DeMar middies tonight.
Yeah.
With all the rim protection that Dallas has going on.
Well, that was the game where DeMar split the 2, right?
Yes.
Okay.
While Zach may or may not have been wide open right next to him.
It doesn't matter.
Hey, he made it.
Going back real quick, though, just because that Clippers game when Trey Lyles was open.
Yeah.
What do you think the play was? Was it just DeMar just shoot it regardless? I mean, Trey was wide open.
Trey was pretty open. I guess that's probably the way you go. I don't know. I mean, when you only have a couple seconds left in a game like that, I think that you're lucky if you don't get a chaotic last possession.
Yes.
So for the most part, it takes a mistake from the defense, I think, for you to get a good look. And the Clippers, have a little bit more of a questionable offense. They rely fully on James Harden and Kawhi Leonard there, but their defense is their staples. So I would honestly say I think that's more credit to the Clippers defense rather than Sacramento maybe not executing that correctly.
How confident are you in Doug Christie getting it done?
Decently, I guess. Again, I think the main feeling here is that I think Dallas wants to go home, man. Like, I think Dallas has had a ridiculously long season. It's hard to make sense of everything that has happened here. And honestly, if Dallas, Phoenix, and Philly didn't have these years, I think the Kings would get a lot more ridiculed that, to be blunt, I think they honestly kind of deserve.
Yeah.
But, hey, you're facing off a team that straight up just had a way worse year than you, and I think that they're ready to get out of here. So it's not always going to be that simple. Clay went 0 of 10 in this building in his last game as a Warrior last year. I'm sure that he's going to have a little bit of juice to him. So we'll see how this kind of all plays out. But I feel decent about the Kings' chances while also keeping in mind that, hey, if you have 17 turnovers tonight, you're going to lose this game.
Is there any fear that you have that a win could actually set the Kings back because you could do the whole we were close thing, right? Some people that might want to lose the battle to win the war with this whole mediocrity situation and just being stuck in the middle. If you lose tonight, couldn't you say that Vivek's hands would be more tied to try something else rather than I've said worst case scenario. and this is kind of Captain Obvious, but worst case scenario is winning tonight and losing Friday.
Right.
That is the worst case scenario.
Well, I'll argue the worst case is just losing tonight, to be fair, but I definitely get your point here. I unfortunately do think that I have a sense of worry that they make the playoffs. You know, I feel like I've been saying this. I don't know if I've said this on air, but I've said this to you, Chris Frankie, sort of in private, that I have a lot of worry that this team is going to make the postseason and get swept by the Thunder, but they're going to be up at halftime in 2 of these games, and they're going to hold on to that for all of next year. We're going to be like, hey, OKC made the finals, man. We had a chance in 2 of these games. There was no Malik. Jake LaRavia wasn't playing. And I'm going to have to tell everybody, and everybody's going to hate me, to be like, listen, we were not that close.
Right.
What are we talking about?
Yeah.
So, honestly, as much as I would love for the city to experience postseason, I guess we're already in postseason, but playoff basketball, I feel kind of messed up. I don't honestly feel like this team deserves it.
Yeah.
Like, I think that this was a chaotic season, and they're 8 games behind the 8th seed. Like, I don't know that you can confidently be like, hey, this team deserved to make the playoffs.
Right, and then they beat an even worse team. This is what's going to happen. They beat an even worse team tonight, and we're going to do the thing where it's, hey,
it's the battle of who fumbled Luka batter.
Right. Momentum shifting.
Yep.
You can, the Grizzlies are on the way down where, honestly, in the larger perspective, you're asking for peanuts. We're talking about peanuts here when we're just talking about going to the playoffs. And that's why we continue to say, if your goal is to make it to the playoffs, you're going to keep finding yourself in this position. At some point, the expectations have to change. And if they do get to the playoffs, I don't think they will change. I don't think the expectations will change if they win tonight, to be honest with you, because as long as they don't get their you-know-what's kicked in Memphis, I think we could hear the same thing. No Malik, no Jake LaRavia.
Right.
If they get their doors blown off in Memphis, then I think it would be pretty similar to losing tonight.
I would agree, and I don't think it should matter as much as I expect it to.
That's exactly right.
Because we're talking about single elimination basketball. This team is ridiculously good when I don't have the number in front of me, but Frankie outlined it on our show yesterday. When they shoot above 40% from 3, ridiculous record.
Yeah.
Which, sure, that, very black and white. You can say that about every team in the NBA probably, but like, I just don't honestly think that this is a very cohesive group. I think that they are a collection of talent that is not optimized. And so I have a lot of questions about this team, and I do have a sense of worry that they get false confidence from a game or two where anything could happen, and really you're not learning anything about your team from one game.
No
matter what that game is. Like,
I'm pretty sure it was 21-6 or something ridiculous
like that. Yeah.
And they've shot the 3 ball 38% against the Mavs. So we'll see. Obviously, it's a very tough situation. You want the Kings to win, but you just don't want this to continue. And you should be able to have both, right? You should be able to get to the playoffs and still realize, hey, that shouldn't be your goal, right? You should want more than that. And Boogie Cousins spoke to that. We're way over time. That's because Brendan always has great stuff to say. Brendan, thank you so much for joining us. We will see you tonight. I'm sure you're running around. You got to get home. You got to get back. You got to do a bunch of stuff. So thank you for joining us, and we will be right back continuing to break down all things Sacramento Kings. How can they get it done tonight? Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
From Doco, it's Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports 1140.
You've heard the saying, penny wise, pound foolish, right? It means you do something that will save you a little bit right now, just pennies, but that ends up costing you pounds in the end.
People put off tuning up their furnace because they don't want to take the time or spend the money to get it done.
But it only takes 90 minutes and costs just $87, which is just pennies compared to the huge problems and expenses that can rack up if you don't get your furnace tuned up.
You'll also save money on your energy bills, and your system will last longer.
So don't be penny wise and pound foolish. Call Bell Brothers for a precision tune-up and professional cleaning today.
Our number is 916-444-1234, or find us online at thenosurpriseguys.com.
The No Surprise Guys, Bell Brothers.
you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 new lines with autopay for well-qualified customers plus taxes, fees, and $35 per line connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed cracks in your drywall, chimney, or exterior walls? I hope not, because if you have, they could be indications that you've got a much bigger problem with your foundation. That's where Groundworks comes in. They can honestly assess your situation and create a plan to stabilize your foundation. Schedule your free inspection at groundworks.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job. It's a good one.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
Power Business Technology is proud to be a 100% independent, locally owned and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer since 2021. Contact us today for all your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729. Or visit us at powercopiers.com.
Skeeter here, Field Tech, Sacramento Yellow Mosquito and Vector Control District. Hey, it's my favorite week of the year, Mosquito Awareness Week. Yep, the spring and warm weather means the little suckers are starting to breed and bite. Gotcha! So it's time to fight the bite. Once a week, drain standing water from flower pots, bird baths, dog dishes, and at dawn and dusk, start using insect repellent outside and wear long clothes, because these skeeters are out for blood.
The Sacramento Yolo Mosquito and Vector Control District reminds you it's time to fight the bite. For more information, go to fightthebite.net.
Maida Chevy saves you $8,000 off MSRP on new 2025 half-ton Silverado LT and RST after rebates.
Year-end savings on now with $8,000 off new Silverados at MaidaChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
See dealer for details.
From Doco, it's Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports 1140.
Taking you up to 2 p.m., handing you off to the Drive guys who will also be live from Doco. And we are getting ready for the Sacramento Kings taking on the Dallas Mavericks. It is going to be quite the experience tonight, win or lose. Because if they lose, I think a lot of people will say, all right, enough is enough now. And if they win, I think a lot of people will be saying, what could happen here, right? Could something real be going down? We're going to get hope. I think that was the toughest part about last season when they beat the Warriors and then had the opportunity in New Orleans, and everybody was talking about the fact that there was no Zion. They had hope, and they gave us a lot of hope. And if they win tonight, we'll still have that hope, because the last time we saw the Grizzlies, they lost to the Warriors. And did the Warriors really deserve to be in the play-in? Maybe not, but the Grizzlies, they didn't look horrible. They did not look horrible at all. So with that being said, you have a decent game from the Kings. I would say decent to good. I don't think you need a perfect game to beat the Grizzlies. So we're going to have that hope again, and I would just hope that if that happens, we don't get let down again. If you're not going to make the playoffs, don't give us that hope. And that's exactly what happened last season. We got the hope. You had the night happening on the Sacramento end, and then you kind of lay an egg, to be completely honest, against the Pelicans, and you go 0-6. So not a situation that we'll find ourselves in, because the Kings beat the Mavericks this season and they beat the Grizzlies this season. These teams have changed a lot, and that's kind of the name of the game these days, but that's also just exactly where I think you want to be, more so than the unknown. There's a little bit of an unknown because you haven't faced this specific Mavericks team, but you are familiar with their game, and you've played Anthony Davis a ton of times, even if it was at a different position. All right, Kyle, let's hear from DeMar DeRozan and kind of what he had to say about the game plan and things like that.
We haven't got a chance to see, AD. But, at this point, where we at, it can't matter how difficult something is. We just gotta come out, focus on us, and bring the compete level at a high level.
They got a lot of size, obviously, going double big lineups. What challenges do you think that presents, and how you guys could counter that?
I'm rebounding. Rebounding. We gotta understand. Am I giving a game plan away if I tell you? Hey, we just gotta play together.
There you go. That was DeMar DeRozan, just not wanting to give away the game plan, but we know what it is. They don't want AD to wreck this game. That's what it comes down to. AD on the defensive end, AD on the offensive end, AD rebounding the basketball. They don't want Anthony Davis to imprint his mark on this game and essentially blow it all up. That's what it comes down to. We can talk about the pace. We can talk about the space. We can talk about all of that. It really comes down to whether you will be able to contain Anthony Davis and how you will do so. Obviously, if the three ball gets going, look, man, like I said, I've seen Max Christie get hot. And Kyle, you had him as an honorable mention for your X Factor. He scares me at times because he's the guy that they're probably going to have to let cook. If you look around, you don't want Klay Thompson to get going. And Klay is higher on the priority list than Max Christie because he has to be. But I've seen Max Christie get it going before. All of it is secondary to Anthony Davis, but anything can happen. And anything can happen on the other side. Keegan Murray hasn't been shooting the ball well. He shot the ball well in the play-in last season.
Sacramento.
Keon doesn't necessarily translate, but at least we have something on tape to say these guys have done it before. DeMar DeRozan, he's won a play-in game before. Zach LaVine has been probably the hottest shooter on the team. So we have and Jonas Valanciunas has been in every play-in game that's ever happened. And Domantas Sabonis always shows up. If you can limit Anthony Davis and there's not a random, again, going back to March Madness, Max Christie just goes off or Klay Thompson goes off, you should take care of business. And honestly, if you look around to the rest of the roster and the rest of the players, and PJ Washington as well, that was my X factor, one of them can go off. Max Christie could go off for 20. If you take care of business elsewhere, you should still win. If PJ Washington goes off, he averages 20 against the Kings, you can still win. You just can't have multiple things happen. You just can't have all of those things happen. But one of those things can happen and you can still win. But if you let that happen, Anthony Davis still cooks, has a double-double, a hearty double-double with bacon on it, extra cheese on it. Throw some cheese on that. If both those things happen, then you have a problem. If three of those things happen, then you have a problem. But if you decide, hey, Anthony Davis, you can do what you want, or Max Christie, he's hot, fine, we're not going to let other guys get going. If you divvy up those things, then you'll be okay. You just can't let multiple things happen. And that goes back to Doug Christie and the ability to identify, okay, this seems like we're just going to have to say uncle on the Anthony Davis thing, so nobody else is going to be able to get down. That's how it has to go. So ultimately, they're not a ton of horses that the Mavs have, but if you get stuck focusing on one thing and not reacting or adjusting to another, that is how you could find yourself in a world of trouble. We have some text to get through when we return. And, of course, our game preview starts up at 1 o'clock. 5 minutes away from our game preview, less than 5 minutes away. Don't go anywhere. Allen Stiles live from Doco. We're giving out towels. I got the towels out here for the YouTube audience. Okay, we got the towels. If you want a rally towel to rock with you as well, get on down here. We're taking up to 2 p.m. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting live from Doco on Sacktown Sports.
It's Allen Stiles.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. All kinds of beers and thousands of wines.
Drink responsibly. B21.
It's Carmichael Dave talking to you about my good friends at American Energy. You're in the Sacramento area. You know how the seasons work. They are a-changing right now. So American Energy wants to help you stay warm for the rest of the cold season, but help you stay cool during the warm season. Best way to do that, make sure your system is operating safely. So right now is the time to take advantage of half off a tune-up, $24.50. They cut that right in half, and if you want a diagnostic, guess what? You can't beat free. If it's free, it's me, and now it can be you. And also, it's the end of the season blowout. $4,000 off a new system plus any rebates. That $4,000, that's a direct drop from the sticker price. It's a great deal. Check them out at theaeway.com or an instant quote, or give them a call at 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990. Tell them your good buddy Carmichael Dave sent you.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Did you hear? A recent stash of $10 gold Liberty coins from the 1800s has been found. These gorgeous gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck in the late 1800s, and less than 200 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this gold find an incredible opportunity. Call 1-800-917-4635. And you are guaranteed a $10 gold Liberty coin minted by the U.S. Mint in the 1800s. But with extremely limited availability, you must call now. These gold Liberty coins from the 1800s are still in uncirculated condition. That is history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-917-4635. Call now, and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $40 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-917-4635 now to secure your $10 gold Liberty coins dated from the 1800s before they sell out. That's 1-800-917-4635.
Finally, an easy way to find home improvement contractors. Just visit subcontractorsunited.com and simplify your search for home services professionals. From cabinets to windows, roofing to plumbing, Subcontractors United is an easy, simple way to find and hire a home improvement contractor. And you never have to give up personal information. So no harassing phone calls like you get from those other websites. Subcontractorsunited.com is sponsored by D&D Cabinets and Savage Design.
It's the final days of the spring sales event. Drive home your new Honda before the deals and the new Hondas disappear. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Looking to own or lease? During the spring sales event, drive a brand new Accord or Civic. Visit us today at FolsomLakeHonda.com, your one-stop Honda shop.
As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our number one priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Sacramento Kings basketball.
Oh my goodness, that was thrown down with rigid authority.
The run to the playoffs.
Gets in the paint, goes to the two-hand flush off the bounce.
On Sacktown Sports 1140. Broadcasting live from Toco on Sacktown Sports.
It's Allen Stiles.
From Kenneth Kelly on the Sack Chat. Alan, could the weather be any nicer out there? The vibes are on 10 today. Yes, they are, Kenneth. Yes, they are. We are out here live at Toco, just chilling, hanging out, getting ready for Kings Mavericks, as the Kings, they're ready to take care of business. And I know we had Brendan on. We're breaking down what means what in the future, all of that. Tonight is a night to just enjoy. Hopefully enjoy if you can get that W. As we start off our Kings Mavericks preview, I see a text here at 916-339-1140 if you want to be a part of the conversation. Joe from the 530. Alan, if the Kings lose, does Doug get a pass because of players missing? I think ownership has already made up its mind to keep Doug, which I think is a mistake. I see Doug as a great rah-rah coach, but not a good X's and O's coach. Again, that's from Joe from the 530. I think tonight will tell us a lot about Doug Christie. They might come out and just beat the brakes off of the Mavericks, and I think that would say a lot about Doug Christie. Whatever he said in that locker room resonated with them. And when we normally do the rah-rah X's and O's thing, it's more so in football, right? Dan Campbell, Mike Tomlin, guys like that, Sirianni. What's the difference between these X's and O's? Then you have a Kyle Shanahan type guy. But people can be both. People can be dynamic. People can be flexible. And as far as Doug Christie is concerned, I've seen him do some things that is beyond rah-rah, right? Sticking with Trey Lyles instead of Keegan Murray or Domantas Sabonis. That's not rah-rah. I've seen Jonas Valanciunas kind of be in there a little bit longer than Domantas Sabonis. That's not rah-rah. So we've seen him make these moves before. Obviously, tonight the stakes are a bit higher, so we'll see how it happens there. But I do agree that I don't think their mind should be made up simply because of who's available. So I think that Doug has done enough, but if somebody else is available that you think just has more pedigree, has been around the game longer, has certain accomplishments, and has done things that Doug hasn't done yet, you could be outranked, right? I've mentioned this. I've mentioned this before. If you go on LinkedIn and a job says 3 or more years experience, that means you are qualified for the job if you have 3 years experience. But if somebody applies that has 5 years experience, that job might go for it. Just because you have the minimum requirements doesn't mean that that's what they will go for. So I think Doug has done enough for sure. But if there's somebody out there that has just done more in their career just as a whole and they're interested in Sacramento, you have to do your due diligence. But I wouldn't say that, you know, Doug hasn't shown me enough X and O's wise versus rah-rah wise because his career is still so young. With all that being said, I think that he can prove a lot to us tonight on how all of that goes. 916 is chiming in saying we fired that guy. 916 essentially saying that that maybe Mike Brown was more X's and O's versus rah-rah. I could see that as well. So, and Whitey Gleason just came up to me, gave me a finger gun. So maybe that means that John Moran is up next.
So we're beating the Grizzlies?
Kings beat the Mavericks. That's right. That's right. I didn't want to do it, but it was too obvious, Whitey. It was too obvious.
Why didn't you throw the grenade back at him?
I should have. I should have. So, it's a lot of X's and O's versus rah-rah, and we understand that. But a lot of it remains to be seen. We'll see what happens with Doug Christie tonight. If he can get these guys to be flying around and it's just a shellacking, I think that we could sit there and say, hey, this team is Doug definitely has something. He definitely has it. And if they get to the playoffs, I think it's no question. And I think I would throw the question back to Joe to say, would you feel differently if they got to the playoffs? Because it might not say enough or a lot about the organization and where the organization wants the team to go. But I do think it would say a lot about Doug Christie to do something that hasn't been done besides 2023 in over 20 years, right? But at the same time, he did it with all the turmoil and everything that happened in this specific situation. As we get to the Kings Mavs preview, first thing we want to start off with is how the Kings have handled the Mavericks and how the Mavericks have looked pre and post Luka trade. Now, Luka was out for a lot of the season. We keep that in mind as well. But pre-Luka trade, 10th in net rating, 8th in offensive rating, 14th in defensive rating. Some of this kind of coincides with Kyrie as well. They were 26 and 23 pre-Luka trade, 19 and 11 pre-Luka injury. Post-Luka trade, they're 24th in net rating, 23rd in offensive rating, 24th in defensive rating, and they are 13 and 20. So they stink. They're not very good since trading Luka, and some of that is also Kyrie Irving going down. And just to recap everything that has happened with the Mavs to make you feel a little bit better about your Sacramento Kings. July 2024, they tinker with the roster after being swept out of the NBA Finals. They acquire Klay Thompson. They sign Derrick Jones Jr. Derrick Jones Jr. leaves. He signs with the Clippers. In 2024 on Christmas, Luka suffered that calf strain. At the time, the Mavs were 19-11, the number 4 seed in the West, and had the 4th best offensive rating in the NBA. February 2nd, that's when it all goes down. That's when the Luka trade happened. Luka, Maxi Kleber, Markieff Morris, and Anthony Davis, or for Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and an unprotected 2031 first-round pick. They call Luka a fat slob who smokes too much hookah, Luka, and will have a medical catastrophe. They go on to react in a crazy way, the fans do. They bring a casket to the arena. They trade Quentin Grimes just for the fun of it to the 76ers for Caleb Martin. On February 4th, Anthony Davis has his first game in Dallas, 26 points, 16 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 blocks, and Anthony Davis goes down. They lose Kyrie Irving. They have Kessler Edwards at the center. Now, to add even more to the timeline, what was it, just earlier this week, yesterday, whenever it was, they doubled down on the decision that they made, and Nico Harrison says he doesn't owe anything to the Mavericks fan base. He only owes what he owes to the organization and making the best decisions. Now, those things should coincide, you would think, but at this point, he's just kind of trying to save face, and that's essentially what it is. So it's a great day to not be a Dallas Mavericks fan, win or lose. Even if they win tonight, I mean, does it really matter? You don't have Kyrie. You got Anthony Davis. He's only played 9 games. They're running these. Anthony Davis is finally a 4, so he's probably the happiest clam of them all because he's not wanted to be a center for a very long period of time, and now he's not one. So I'm interested in how things look with their beefy lineup with Derek Lively. Without Derek Lively, his whole thing with Daniel Gafford, they catch all these lobs from Luka. So I don't even know how much they play above the rim because they don't have a point guard. It'd be different if they still had Kyrie. But they don't have Kyrie right now. They got Max Christie and Spencer Dinwiddie. So I don't even know how much the lob threats and a lot of the things that we saw them excel at on their way en route to a finals appearance. I don't even know who they are anymore. Kyle, I don't think I've seen a game with Anthony Davis and the other 2 big men. I have not seen their beefy layer.
Well, I mentioned it earlier.
I have not seen it.
Tonight is going to be the 3rd game that all 3 big men have played together, being Anthony Davis, Daniel Gafford, and Derek Lively. And they've been starting Lively recently. I think that's probably the direction they're going to go, but you are correct. Yeah. They've only played twice, all 3 together.
So that's where they're at. And I would say that it's pretty obvious that the Kings should feel good about tonight. Not overly confident, not Washington Wizards confident when you just rolled the ball out there and they rolled it right back to you and you lost the game. You shouldn't have that type of disrespectful confidence, but there should be a level of we need to take care of business and go to Memphis and see what happens out there. That's where I think that the Kings should be, and I do think that that's where they are. Brendan said there was not too much to note coming out of shoot around, a lot of the same things. They want to play with pace. We heard from DeMar DeRozan. They do not want to see the Mavericks set up that defense. And funny enough, the way you brought that up, Kyle, we're hearing the Kings talk about this set half-court defense as if they have so much tape on the Mavericks when these bigs, they've only played this is their 3rd game to play 2 games together.
You have no tape on any version of the Mavs because the Kings also haven't played them without Kyrie yet.
Which also scares me, but at the same time, with all of the notes that they're coming out with in these scouting reports, I'm thinking, well, who are you scouting? You haven't really seen them. So I think everybody has got a plan until they get hit in the mouth. I hope the Kings are the ones that do the hitting. You can make the argument the Mavericks have a bit more tape on the Kings, but the Kings have been injured too. But this version of the Kings, we've seen them for a good bit now. So I think it's going to be, going back to the boxing reference, I think that first quarter might be feeling each other out and seeing what each team is trying to do. And then you get to the second quarter, you get to the second half, hey, this is exactly what they're trying to get done so we can combat it this way, or this is working for us, but this isn't working for us, or this has been working for us and now it's not. So I think that first quarter, we shouldn't be freaking out too much, unless Kings are down 15 or 10.
If it's 35-22, we can freak out.
That would be a problem. So don't let somebody get ridiculously hot. Understand, I think one thing, whether it's this version of the Kings or Mike Brown, it's always been interesting how they've decided to handle, hey, this guy is having a day, right? This guy is having a day. So we should maybe change what we're doing. The Kings, and honestly, kind of both versions of them, this goes back to Doug Christie and his ability to make an adjustment. Somebody could be not on your list as someone you need to worry about, right? Like Draymond Green. If Draymond Green makes 3 threes in a row, I guess you're still playing the numbers, assuming, well, he ain't going to make 4, so maybe that's a bad example, but a player that can get hot from time to time, and a Max Christie type of player, a P.J. Washington type of player, if you have a plan and they're not necessarily in that plan, but it seems like they're having a day, just respect the fact that they might be having a day. Because the bottom line is, maybe it's not Klay's day. And once you get past that, I would say halftime, if somebody's having a day, they're having a day. So if it's Klay Thompson he's still 0 for his last 2,000 in the Golden One Center, but it's Max Christie or whoever is not on your hot sheet, there's probably somebody more random, because it is the Mavs after all, somebody that you really didn't think would be doing their thing, and then they are. You need to make a decision and basically say, all right, however this works, Najee Marshall. If Najee Marshall's 3-ball starts falling, at some point you need to make, I'm not saying to sell out on him, but or Spencer Dinwiddie.
That's the one.
Right? Spencer Dinwiddie. Do not, if it's his day, then respect that it's his day. Because the bottom line is, it's probably not going to be his day and Klay Thompson's day and Anthony Davis's day. So just respect the heater, right? They're keys to the game. Respect the heater. Obviously, they want to get into transition. Also, respect the heater. If it looks like a heater and smells like a heater, treat it like a heater and don't just let them continue to do their thing. 916-339-1140. Call line, text line, taking you up to 2 p.m. The Kings win if ... Help us fill in the blanks. And we hear from Domantas Sabonis on how to attack Anthony Davis now that he's finally a 4 and not a 5. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
From Toco, it's Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports 1140.
The Arbor Day Foundation is launching the largest corporate tree distribution program in its history. Dan Lamb, CEO of the Arbor Day Foundation, has more.
Trees are vital to our communities, both now and in the future. Each year, we lose 36 million trees due to age, disease, pests, and severe weather. That's why it's essential to plant mature and regionally appropriate trees. A mature tree acts as a powerhouse for clean air, absorbing over 48 pounds of carbon dioxide annually while releasing oxygen.
To tackle this issue, the Arbor Day Foundation has partnered with Subaru for the Subaru Loves the Earth initiative, providing 100,000 trees across the U.S.
More than 600 participating Subaru retailers will give away established, ready-to-plant trees across communities nationwide. This initiative supports the Arbor Day Foundation's work to plant trees in communities that need them most, helping to protect the planet for generations to come.
More information on the Subaru Loves the Earth initiative, visit Subaru.com/earth.
Here's a Warriors 3, no good. Rebounded by Kessler Edwards, and that will do it. You hear the thunderous light the beam chant in the background. The final 4 seconds tick away. Davion walks it into the front court. The horn sounds, and the Sacramento Kings have won in a live or die last game scenario.
Your home for Kings talk and so much more.
Live and local.
Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
Taking you up to 2 p.m. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports, just saying what's up.
Allen Stiles.
I know. I'm on the air right now. Saying what's up to some of my folks out here. One guy right here, Legend, has it. You want to check out. It is a vinyl spot that you want to get to. It is right across the street from Tom's. My buddy Jose owns it, and it is a great time for pre-games, things like that. So you definitely want to check that out as they say what's up. Now, I'm going to get Jose to call in one of these days so y'all understand that I could hoop back in the day. It was a long time ago, but I could hoop back in the day. Taking you up. Yeah, okay. All right, Doug Christie. Taking you up to 2 p.m. All right, here we go again. And when we got to the break, we were talking about what the Kings need to do to win. The Kings win if ... And I would say the Kings win if they are able to keep Anthony Davis under wraps. I know we can talk about the Klay Thompson heater. I know we can talk about some of the different things that may or may not happen. But ultimately, you contain Anthony Davis, you got a shot. Now, you could also say that on the offensive side and have a different answer. But as we discuss Anthony Davis, here is Domantas Sabonis on guarding him at the 4 as opposed to they normally have against the Lakers as a 5. Here it is.
We know they switch a lot. They're the second or third team in switches, so that's obviously going to take us out of all of our pick and roll stuff and all that stuff. So we're going to have to find ways to score in other areas. So that's what we've been working on. So we got to go out and run. They have 2 bigs, as quick as we can get that down the floor so they're not there. Blocking shots will help. He's hovering around the paint. I might think I might go by the big man, but then you got AD coming from behind, So obviously that's that makes it a lot more difficult. Same thing, we might be in the pick and roll. Zach might go downhill on the pick and roll, but then you got also on the weak side, it's AD, not another power forward.
There you go. That was Domantas Sabonis talking about attacking Anthony Davis and what they will and won't be able to do. We've seen Anthony Davis go off against the Kings, against other teams, and the bottom line is it all starts and ends with him. 916 says, I'm a little confused as to why we're so confident about tonight's game. Is Anthony Davis not the best player on the court tonight? If he's in his bag tonight, we are screwed. Anthony Davis probably is the best player on the court tonight. I think I would agree with that. But if we were to do a player draft, and we can do that right here, Kyle.
Sure.
If we were to do a player draft, and obviously having the best player is the cheat code. You want that. But I would say, fine. You go Anthony Davis 1.
I'll take Sabonis 2.
I would go Sabonis 2. I would go Zach LaVine 3.
I would go DeMar DeRozan 4.
PJ Washington might be 5. So, it's 3 versus 2.
I would say maybe Keegan Murray ahead of him. I know Keegan's hurt,
I would say
obviously.
that too. I would say that too. It's a close one between Keegan Murray and obviously PJ Washington.
I'd also throw Lively in there too, maybe.
Sure. So it could be 3-2. It could be 4-1. I think the bottom line is that, yes, the Mavericks might have the best player, but the Kings have a better collection of talent. So you have to look at it that way. And that's where it comes to Doug Christie and the coaching staff. Because if AD is doing – you can stop it. If you see it coming, right, AD, you know what he wants to do. So AD being a game breaker shouldn't be that hard to at least see coming. I'm not going to say you're going to stop it, but if he's doing his game breaker thing, then you make the necessary adjustments if you have to bring to whatever it is, and then you pray that Max Christie doesn't get hot. So AD just wearing the Kings out for 4 quarters, I don't anticipate that happening. The scarier thing would be he wears you out for 3 quarters, you make a necessary change, and then Max Christie brings them home. That's the nightmare scenario. That truly is. But, as far as the confidence meter, I don't necessarily think anybody, maybe I sound this way, I'm just excited for the game, but we went into this trying to not be overly confident about the Kings. And not because of anything other than you don't know what could happen. You haven't faced this team before. They do have the size, and you could get a random Klay Thompson is a Hall of Famer. You could get a random Klay Thompson game. Anthony Davis has figured some things out. This is our first time seeing Anthony Davis at the 4. So I don't want to come off as overly confident. They're 5-point favorites, the Kings are, and they should be. I think that's respectful to both sides. I think that you should feel confident that the Kings can win this game because the Mavs have only played 2 games as this group is concerned. So confident, yes. Overly confident, like I said, you be Wizards confident and you can get sent packing real quick.
So can I answer the hypothetical question here of the Kings win if ...
Yes, please.
So here's how I would feel the most confident. The Kings win if they get Anthony Davis in foul trouble. I think that's the biggest thing that I would feel very good about is having to take him off the floor for stretches at a time. Because like we said before, yes, he's been battling injuries, but Nico Harrison said it yesterday. Truly one of the most insane things he said yesterday. But he's like, they had 2.5 quarters of championship level basketball when Anthony Davis was on the floor pre-injury.
That's just crazy.
So
that's just crazy.
I do understand Anthony Davis is a future Hall of Famer and the best player on the floor tonight. And I anticipate, unless they might have Sabonis on AD, but my anticipation is it's going to be Keegan guarding AD to start the game. They might go to that thing like they did against the Warriors where like Keegan was guarding Quentin Post just to kind of like mix things up a little bit, or Keegan guarding Rudy Gobert at times. But I think for the most part, it's going to be AD on Keegan. And if you get Anthony Davis in foul trouble, that's when I feel like you're doing the right things to not slow him down, take him out of the game entirely.
Well, when you look at some of the matchups, and that's what we're going to get into in about 3 minutes here, but if you look at some of the matchups, you have to see what everyone's strengths are. So I think it's going to be Ref Sledden for Keegan. On the other end, though, and that doesn't necessarily mean that Anthony Davis is going to guard Keegan, but if he does, maybe you don't get him in foul trouble as much because Keegan's on the perimeter, but you've also pulled him out. So if they want to go Anthony Davis on Keegan because Keegan's guarding him, Anthony Davis is either going to fall back a little bit and then Keegan can get some open looks, or he's going to go out there with Keegan and that opens the lane a little bit. I've always said the shiftiness of Zach LaVine is insane. And we love it when he's making threes, but that dude can get to the cup anytime he wants. So, his layup package is ridiculous. Let's see what happens when Anthony Davis gets pulled out and they have an opportunity to do some things inside the paint. I know they don't drive the ball often, but if Anthony Davis is pulled out, that could change some things. We continue to break down the matchup in general, but specifically the matchups on the court and what could happen tonight as the Kings take on the Dallas Mavericks. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Broadcasting live from Joco on Sacktown Sports.
It's Allen Stiles.
Welcome to Staples.
Hi, I hear Staples prints it all.
Oh, you bet. Posters, banners.
Can you print it all for Mother's Day?
Oh, of course. Photo gifts like canvas prints, photo puzzles.
Can you print it all for graduation?
Sure can. Custom cards and invites.
Can you print a huge banner with the grad's picture?
Oh, definitely.
Even an embarrassing baby picture?
Oh, those are the best kind.
I know, right?
Print it all for moms and grads at Staples. And right now, get 40% off custom cards, invites, and photo gifts. N75 exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. 800-902-5454. 800-902-5454.
If you're not looking for a brand new car, at Elk Grove Honda, we've acquired some of the best pre-owned cars we can find. We've kept only the best of our trades, and our buyer has found some of the finest pre-owned Hondas available in Northern California. You can see for yourself at elkgrovehonda.com. Whether you purchase a brand new Honda or a like-new pre-owned Honda, your car buying experience will be the same. We have the right Honda at the right price. You'll find us in the Elk Grove Auto Mall, Highway 99 and Elk Grove Boulevard.
I gotta get an Elk Grove Honda.
Are you tired of your tee shots ending up in the adjoining fairway while the rest of your foursome is hitting it down the middle? Well, experts will tell you that being properly fitted for golf clubs will help you strike your drive center cut. The Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio and its team of trained PGA professionals are ready to help you get rid of your banana balls and duck hooks. Hagen Oaks Indoor-Outdoor Player Performance Studio fittings are available 7 days a week. Make yours today by calling 916-808-2531. That's 808-2531.
Sacramento's premier country music festival, Country in the Park, is coming back May 16th and 17th at Cal Expo with Bailey Zimmerman, Billy Currington, Cole Wetzel, Nate Smith, and more. You'll enjoy food trucks, rock walls, and a mechanical bull, line dancing, and more. Single-day GA tickets start at $52 at CITPfest.com. Country in the Park, May 16th and 17th with Michelob Ultra and Carl's Jr. Find out more at CITPfest.com.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, the ultimate lunch lineup boasts wall-to-wall sports and scenic views. When you're hungry and in a hurry, the Scratch Kitchen delivers lunch in the clutch. I mean, where else can you order a 29-degree draft beer and a quickie combo on your lunch break? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Twin Peaks Scratch Kitchen scores every time. Dig into hand-smashed burgers, chef-inspired flatbreads, and more at your local lodge.
Want the best movie experience in town? Join Sacktown Sports IMAX Pass by visiting SacktownSports.com. Sign up today. You can win tickets to see this week's films at the Esquire IMAX Theater.
Your old HVAC system could be costing you a fortune in energy bills and repair bills. Right now, Sierra Pacific is offering deep discounts, saving homeowners thousands of dollars. Savings that won't be available later this year. But you must act fast. We have to fill openings in our schedule next week. This limited time offer is only available if you book your installation for next week. Don't wait until it's too late. Call Sierra Pacific and lock in your savings today.
Sierra Pacific Solar Heating and Air, the guys in the big red trucks.
Only one radio program captures the excitement of hunting and fishing as it happens. The award-winning California Sportsman with Sep Hendrickson. Only California Sportsman takes you where the action is, live on the water, live in the blind, and live with the top pros and experts in outdoor sports. California Sportsman with Fishing Hall of Famer Sep Hendrickson is your premier destination for all things outdoors. Sep's Saturday Morning Outdoors. Ultimate Bass and California Sportsman, 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. Saturdays on Sacktown Sports 1140.
Broadcasting live from Toco on Sacktown Sports.
It's Allen Stiles.
By the way, today's not the day for it. 30 more minutes left. And we are taking you up to 2 p.m. But I did see this Rich Paul stuff. Now trying to say that the Heat didn't have a big three because Bosh took a back seat. When you think about it, here's a quote. Bosh was the ultimate professional. He took a back seat and played a role. It's just, I don't know why they have to be like this. I don't know why LeBron's camp has to be like this. Just let your legacy speak for itself. It's very simple.
Let Chris Bosh retire in peace.
Yeah. Stop trying to manipulate things. Stop trying to tell us how we should feel, what we should believe. Just enough. Or can you at least wait until he's fully retired? It's just ridiculous now. All right, I just saw that during the break and had to say something on it. Getting you ready for the Kings taking on the Mavericks. We wanted to get into a little bit more detail as far as the matchups. And you have Keegan Murray, who Kyle is quite certain that will be guarding Anthony Davis if the Mavs continue on. I had up their last game, Kyle. They started, and I actually don't think Anthony Davis actually didn't play in this game, but their last game, they started Max Christie as a forward, Najee Marshall as a forward, Dante Exum as a guard, who did make a dagger on the Kings last season. Don't forget that one. That was after Luka flopped on Malik. Daniel Gafford as their center, and Brandon Williams as their other guard. So I'm trying to find one of the other games where
I got
Anthony
you right
Davis
here.
played.
So Toronto, the game right before that, Friday night. This is one of the 2 games where all of the bigs were playing. It was
right. Yeah, they were sitting some guys, it looks like, in that last game of the season.
Yeah, I think they sat a lot of people in that game, but or like pulled them midway. Anyways, Toronto game. This is one of the 2 where they had all 3 bigs available. They went Klay Thompson, PJ Washington, Najee Marshall, Anthony Davis, Derek Lively. Although Lively only played 17 minutes, Daniel Gafford played 20 coming off the bench. And then you had Max Christie, Caleb Martin, Brandon Williams, who, by the way, is questionable tonight. Brandon Williams is.
Okay. So that feels like a more realistic lineup that we'll see tonight. And look, man, you don't disrespect it. Do not disrespect it. That's all I'm going to say. You know, Najee Marshall, he was a guy who a lot of people wanted on the Kings, and it didn't work out. But, you know, the dude can play. The dude can defend. It's not going to – not typically – I got to watch what I say – not typically going to kill you offensively, but you can't sleep on him. You know, you look at the we've talked about PJ Washington, Derek Lively, and these guys, and it's going to be interesting. Even the Caleb Martin situation, right? So they're kind of the land of misfit toys in a way, and the wind is kicking up here.
I noticed that. Is that towels hitting you in the face?
Yes, there are towels. Well, Whitey threw one.
Whitey threw a towel at you?
Everywhere. Bobby's coming over to help because Whitey isn't really helping. He's just standing there.
I can hear Bobby's laugh in the background. That is great.
You know, so a lot is happening right now, and what we do hope doesn't happen is Anthony Davis going off. But from a matchup perspective, you know, with no point guard, and let's take that lineup that we just spoke about, right? So you got Keegan on Anthony Davis, which puts, I don't know, DeRozan on PJ Washington, which I hate, by the way. Derek Lively, that's a Sabonis situation. Keon Ellis, I guess they'll probably put him on Klay Thompson, and then you have Zach LaVine on Najee Marshall.
Oh,
I like that. You don't like that? You don't like that from what side?
It's tough. I want to say put DeRozan on whoever is the 5th scoring option, but the problem is they're playing essentially 4 power forwards, and we've talked before, like, he doesn't guard power forwards well. Like DeRozan guarding 4s is a problem. So it's unique that they happen to play a team. And I don't think Najee Marshall's going to go crazy. He's not Aaron Gordon. He's not Zion Williamson. But I kind of feel like Najee on DeRozan would make me feel a little better.
I think I'm probably with you on that. And the good thing about PJ Washington is he doesn't love. I mean, I whenever I see him, he's shooting a 3. So he doesn't typically love to bang down low and doesn't have a plethora of post moves to go to. Now, if he has somebody on that's smaller, maybe that's a little bit different. That's also always funny to me too when going back to pickup basketball. If you have a size advantage on someone and they expect you to just go in the post if you don't normally play in the post, I don't have that bag. Yeah, I know I got a little bit of size on, but I don't have that in my bag. I'm not a post player. So, you know, how these guys change how they play based on who's guarding them. Now, Anthony Davis, he is a post player. So Keegan Murray trying to guard him is going to be tough sledding. But I do feel like I like majority of the matchups that we will see tonight. Again, it comes down to what DeMar DeRozan is going to be able to do. Zach LaVine, and can Zach LaVine get loose early? Domantas Sabonis, he has to do something offensively. I don't think you need Domantas Sabonis to score 20 to win, but he's got to at least give you some relief offensively, which we've seen him do before, and specifically against Anthony Davis. 916-339-1140 call line, text line as we take you up to 2 p.m. And the injury report, Malik Monk is out. Jake LaRavia is out. Really tough. Jake LaRavia, he was out there shooting. You know, he's been out there shooting for about a week or so at least. I really thought he was going to be back tonight. Maybe he could be back Friday. At this point, I have no clue. Kyle, you said you had a caller who didn't necessarily want to come on air but was very confused as to what is going on with Jake LaRavia's thumb. I mean, if you think about a thumb, right, it seems like one of those things that would bug you more than you would think once it's injured for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't anticipate this from Jake LaRavia when we first heard about the injury. I did think that, or I guess I hoped that he would be back by now.
Yeah, the caller, I don't want to put his name out there. The caller was basically saying, can't you just play defense and not shoot? I'm like, you kind of also need your thumb to play defense at times, but it was kind of this point, like if ever there were a game where you play through it. I mean, we talked about it with De'Aaron, and obviously pinky versus thumb, big difference, but it's like fingers are the injuries that least inhibit your ability to play on the floor, right? So you hear a finger injury and think there's a better chance, but like on the injury report for LaRavia, it's listed as an incomplete scaphoid fracture. That's a broken thumb. He has a broken thumb.
Well, and the other thing is, too, to be completely honest, he's trying to get paid, right? He understands the situation that he's in, and if that could hurt his situation in the postseason, I'm not saying that's why he's not playing. I'm just saying everybody needs to be smart about their careers. If he was on, and he's got a broken thumb, right? But if he was on in the middle of a 4-year deal or something like that, maybe he. I don't know, but maybe that's part of it. LaRavia play basketball. The dude goes 1,000% whenever he's on the court. So it's not as if he's some finesse player. That guy is on the ground, diving after loose balls. So it would be tougher for somebody like him to play with a thumb injury. So we are not going to speculate, but at the same time, everybody has to make certain decisions. If he'd be out there, I want to believe that he would be out there. But yeah, I mean, this is a guy who is trying to figure out what's going on with him next season, and nothing is written in stone yet. So that could be an argument to play, right? If it's your senior year and you're trying to get a scholarship or whatever, that could be an argument to play. But in Jake's situation, listening to his agent or whatever the case is, maybe it goes the other way. I don't know. All I know is that I would love to see him on the floor, and it is tough that we won't get to see him tonight. Maybe we'll get to see him on Friday. And when somebody plays, I will say, when somebody does play the way he does play, it would make you think that he really does want to be out there. So his thumb really must be jacked up. So we'll see what happens there. And, the Kings should be able to take care of business without him. Again, 5-point favorites. But I think that when you made that move for Jake LaRavia, we were all ecstatic. And then he started playing. We were even more ecstatic. Then he started shooting the basketball well, and we were even more ecstatic. And it was just kind of a tease getting that pulled away from us. And to be honest with you, it was almost a nightmare situation with Keegan missing some of those games because of his back. So the injury bug, whatever happened in 2023, when everyone said that the Kings got lucky, they've kind of paid for it these last 2 games. Not in a matter of quantity, but based on timing, they've definitely paid for it. And hopefully they can get through tonight and see if you get back Jake for Memphis. But they got to get through tonight before anything else like that happens. Dog segment, prop talk. We already guessed the spread, so we will give our predictions. One more segment with you. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
From Doco, it's Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports 1140.
Skeeter here, Field Tech, Sacramento Yellow Mosquito and Vector Control District. Hey, it's my favorite week of the year, Mosquito Awareness Week. Yep, the spring and warm weather means the little suckers are starting to breed and bite. Gotcha. So it's time to fight the bite. Once a week, drain standing water from flower pots, bird baths, dog dishes, and at dawn and dusk, start using insect repellent outside and wear long clothes, because these skeeters are out for blood.
The Sacramento Yellow Mosquito and Vector Control District reminds you it's time to fight the bite. For more information, go to fightthebite.com. HondaSports.net.
It's the final days of the spring sales event. Drive home your new Honda before the deals and the new Hondas disappear. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Looking to own or lease? During the spring sales event, drive a brand new Accord or Civic. Visit us today at FolsomLakeHonda.com, your one-stop Honda shop.
As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Power Business Technology is proud to be a 100% independent, locally owned and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer since 2021. Contact us today for all your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729 or visit us at powercopiers.com.
With 25 award-winning years in Northern California, Ashton & Price is your local injury law firm. Pro attorney tip: if a firm presents as local but they're in LA, red flag. If your first consultation is not with a lawyer, big red flag. At Ashton & Price, your first consult is with a local attorney, and if serious injury prevents travel, a lawyer will come to you. Still not enough? George Washington's my uncle. At Ashton & Price, no red flags, just red, white, and blue.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton and Price.
Finally, an easy way to find home improvement contractors. Just visit subcontractorsunited.com and simplify your search for home services professionals. From cabinets to windows, roofing to plumbing, Subcontractors United is an easy, simple way to find and hire a home improvement contractor. And you never have to give up personal information. So no harassing phone calls like you get from those other websites. SubcontractorsUnited.com is sponsored by D&D Cabinets and Savage Design.
At Big O Tires, now through April 27th, get $50 to $100 instant savings on 4 select in-stock Cooper, Bridgestone, Firestone, Pirelli, or Hankook brand tires with installation purchase. Disposal fees extra, not good with other offers. See your locally owned Big O Tire store for pricing.
From Doco, it's Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports 1140.
One more segment with you, Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports, taking you up to 2 p.m. And we are ready to get it going, man. Like I said, I'm going to be hanging out. I got no responsibilities besides making sure a beam is lit at the end of the night and keeping y'all hyped up. So I'll be hanging around during the drive, guys. Say what's up. Argue with me. If you hate my takes, tell me. Just have a conversation about it. Kyle does it with me all the time.
Yeah, you heard Allen. Show up to Doco and argue takes with him.
No, you know, have you seen that thing going around social media? The name of it is Jubilee. So they started out arguing politics, right? So it would pop up on whatever, TikTok, Instagram, whatever. They would argue politics, and you know, it would be two randoms, and then they started it where it would be one person that is a doctor or one person that is a politician, whatever it is. And I don't know where these things happen, by the way. My guess is LA, but I have no clue where they happen. They started doing it with sports, and I'm scrolling through. I see Skip Bayless on a Jubilee post arguing fans about MJ versus LeBron. I mean, good on Skip. He's doing his own thing now, you know, no longer with FS1. I did not watch it because I don't need to watch that, but I thought it was incredible. But we could do it. We got tables set up. I'll set a timer, 30 seconds. We can argue. We can go back and forth, and Whitey Gleason and Kyle Draper, I'm sure, would have some fun with that. But I'll be hanging around up until game time, and then obviously we'll all head inside and hear from Doug Christie, the pregame presser. I think that things will be very buttoned up today as far as the setup is concerned. We saw a couple pictures with the T-shirts. If you're going to the game tonight, the Feel the Roar T-shirts, they look incredible. Wear the shirts. Wear the dang shirts, please. Okay? So
don't be like that Warriors fan eating pasta in the front row.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. All right? So a lot of good stuff happening as we get you ready, get you set for the game. I saw something And, I held on to it and didn't read it immediately, but I do want to read it before we get on out of here and hand it off to the Drive guys, because the 916 says, this is interesting. The 916 says, this is my first time in 25 years of Kings fandom where I genuinely don't feel hyped or nervous about this game. I'm not wanting them to lose per se, but I won't be at all upset if they do. That's just a really interesting feeling to me, because I understand that they are not on the same tier as the upper echelon of teams. And this season, from 4 to 8, they were all essentially the same team record-wise. But I understand they're not the Thunder, they're not the Rockets, nobody like that. I get all that. But if you talk about the 25 years, and specifically after the 2000s, with that crew, with Doug Christie and Mike Bibby and those celebrated teams, to not be excited tonight is kind of interesting to me and fascinating to me, simply because the Kings haven't had a lot of success. So I do wonder, are you not excited, not because of the actual game, but more because of the direction of the team? So you can win tonight, you can win Friday, and there's just no way they're going to win, because you would still say that's the second time being in the playoffs in 20 years, right?
Yeah.
And all of that starts from the game tonight. So to have all that and have all that history that you've had, to not be excited tonight, it has to more so be about the direction of the team versus the game. It just feels like a nothing burger. Maybe tonight, maybe it just continues to intensify. Maybe tonight's a nothing burger for you, but knowing that, hey, okay, you win this game, we're actually in the playoffs, maybe Friday there's a little bit more exciting. Because, yeah, an 8 versus a 1, that situation and winning that situation doesn't happen often, but it's possible. But, yeah, Kyle, you can hop in here. Interesting that they have that thought process for sure.
It's all a matter of expectations, right? If you feel like the future of the organization is what you care about and you feel like it's gone down the toilet, I could understand adjusting your expectations, versus a lot of people we've talked to who are like, I just want a playoff series, man. It would be great to have playoff basketball in Sacramento again.
Yeah, and you are still, I think the other thing too is, even if you get to the playoffs, the feeling is you're not building towards something, right? They lose in the first round. They got a 35-year-old. They got a 30-year-old. They got another 30-year-old. They don't have young talent. So losing in the first round, you don't feel like you're building towards anything. So it's a little bit different than if the Rockets, even as a 2 seed, lose in the first, let's say they lose to the Warriors in the first round, they would be upset, but hey, we're one of the youngest teams in the NBA. We got a bright future. We have assets that we can work around with. So I think that's why the feeling is a bit confusing, because even if you get to the playoffs, this isn't some up-and-coming team where you're going to be excited for, oh, what happens next year? So-and-so is going to take a leap, and this other player is going to be a year older and now be 21 and able to actually go out with the team. The Kings don't have that. So losing in the first round doesn't do anything, because you're not really building towards anything. And I get that, but at the same time, you are in a situation where you should enjoy it. You should enjoy it because you haven't seen a lot of this. And when you see the shirts, when you turn on the TV, I do hope that does change your mindset a little bit. You know how we get down. We're always compartmentalizing this stuff on this show. We can understand where they need to be, but also enjoy what we hope goes on tonight. All right, Kyle, it's time for a little bit of Prop Talk. And I haven't even thought about it like this. Hello, Whitey.
Hello.
I haven't even thought about it like this, and I don't think it will be, but this could be the last show of the Kings season.
Yes.
It could. I don't want to think about it like that, but it could be.
Sounds like I've been listening. Sounds like you're hoping that's the case.
No.
Sounds like you're openly.
No.
You got a Dallas Mavericks T-shirt on.
You don't come in here. You don't pick up a headset and start spewing.
I've been listening.
False narratives on this show.
Did you or did you not ask Brandon Nunez, are they better off not winning this game?
Did you ask that? I asked that question.
Uh-huh.
I didn't say I want them to not win this game.
I see. Okay. All right.
I got to ask the question. Kyle, I see something. I'm going to go first because this is lock it in and lock it out. Trey Lyles. Confident I am. When I first thought I was very confident. But I'm going to stick with it. Trey Lyles, the Trey Bays, give me 7 points. Give me the over on Trey Lyles.
Trey Lyles movement.
That's right.
Pounds. He was fat.
Thank you, Malik. Give me Trey Lyles over 7 points.
All right.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Wait, he's going to have to guard Anthony Davis a little bit too at times, I think. So love it. Unless they go with the Beef Brothers, which Katie says maybe not.
If you want to go real quick, if you want to go volume, I would just go with hold on, taking a picture. I would just go, if you want to go volume, I would go with DeMar DeRozan. I think they got DeMar DeRozan at 23.5, which feels aggressive for me, Kyle. It really does. I'm checking here on Zach.
But guarded by Najee Marshall.
Yeah, they got Zach at, I don't know if they got his points right now, but they got Zach LaVine at 21 or 27 points in rebound. Oh, there you go. They got Zach LaVine at 24 points. They got DeMar DeRozan at 23.5. So basically they're saying one of them is going to go off, one of them isn't. So I feel better about my Zach LaVine pick.
Do we have any line available on Jonas Valanciunas?
Of course.
Yeah, let's look at it.
5.5 points. Over! 5.5 points. Also, if you wanted to combine it, Whitey, 9.5 points, rebounds, assists. I like that too.
Yeah,
I like that.
I'm over
too.
that too.
He's always good for 6 points and 4 rebounds.
Yep, there you go. So those are our picks. Kyle, what is your pick?
Okay, so number 1, Keegan Murray, 20.5 points, rebounds, assists. It's available. But
21.5 points, rebounds, assists.
It's there, but that's not why the people are here. The people are here because of this. Klay Thompson.
Oh, here we go.
Is back. Do you know, Whitey or Allen, do you know when the last time Klay Thompson scored a point in Golden One Center was? A singular point.
When?
That would be November 2023 would be the last time Klay Thompson scored a singular point inside of this building. This day last year, Klay Thompson for the 10 seed walked into Golden One Center thinking he was going to end the Sacramento Kings season. And guess what we did? We ended his Golden State Warriors career. A Hall of Famer, the 77th best player in NBA history, according to him. They knocked him out of the playoff, and he scored 0 points. Did he get hurt? Yes. No, he did not. Did he take 10 shots? Yes, he did. Did he take 6 threes? Yes, he did. Did he make a singular one of them? No, he did not. And you think that Klay Thompson is going to come back to Golden One Center again after he showed his face in December and had a 0-point game? Ignore that he was inactive. 0-point game. He is not going to score the 14.5 he's listed at tonight. He's not going to score 10. He's not going to score 5. He's not going to score 3. A 0-point game for that bum Klay Thompson tonight against the Sacramento Kings.
You're going to just keep doing it, okay? That was Kyle Ledbetter, not Allen Stiles. Let the record show. So Kyle is going long story long under on one Klay Thompson. All right, Kyle, dog segment.
Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out?
Got to get to the dog segment quickly because Whitey Gleason, Kyle Draper, and Jay Johnson are coming at you next, the Drive guys, and man, oh man, do they have a show for you.
Yes.
It is going to be
assuming Kyle Draper arrives. I'm sure he will.
It's going to be absolutely electric.
Yes.
And we're going to start here with the dog segment. Kyle, you go first since you went last. Kyle.
All right.
Who do you have for your dog?
So, Mr. Allen, I'm in this tough position.
It's not Klay Thompson.
No, it is not Klay Thompson. But This is the most important game of the season. I just want you to know I'm struggling because I want to pick everybody's favorite player. But the thing is,
I need to say,
40-point game. This is the biggest one of the year. He's played 80. And do we want to tempt fate here? Because every time I picked him, he goes off for 30. So you know what? On the most important game of the season, there's no better time to pull out our pick, our dog. We got to do it one time for the people. Give me DeMar DeRozan.
This is why we brought you here, DeMar. This is why we brought you here. Show everybody who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Show Whitey Gleason who you are.
Alan, yesterday, you asked me about the most disappointing player, and I said, DeMar.
Yes.
You said, you won't say that on the air.
Oh, yeah.
I did say that on the air, and your friend Kyle Draper wasn't thrilled with it.
And that's why I set that up beautifully for you to have to do that. Whitey, dog, who do you have?
The Mavs have not yet faced the whirlwind, the whirling dervish that is Devin Carter. He's going to be a dog tonight.
I like that.
His body.
I like that. I'm going to go quick here and just say Neon Keon. Ellis Island will be alive and well tonight. Keon Ellis, my dog of the game. Kyle, thank you as always. Thank you to Brendan Nunez.
I really just be chilling for real.
Who hopped on the show. Thanks all the callers, sexters, sack chatters. This could be the last game, the last show of the season, but I don't think it is. Give me the Kings. 5.5 is disrespectful. The Mavs got who is Brandon Williams? Who? I don't even know who Najee Mark. Give me a break.
Who's Brandon Williams?
Keegan Murray, Malik Monk is going to be watching and helping out as well.
Mm-hmm.
That way. All right. Keon Ellis, DeMontis Sabonis, DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine. 5-point favorites, more like 15. Allen Stiles Show. Until tomorrow, Whitey Gleason, Kyle Draper, Jay Johnson. I'm next to Kill the Bag. Like to be.
Gotta go.
All power, zero compromise. Ego cordless outdoor power equipment features advanced lithium battery technology that exceeds the power and performance of gas without